earlier today, and I had KJ Osborne fall to me about 24 picks past ADP. And whenever I see a player plummeting like that, what I have to do is I have to run to Twitter. I have to search their name. I have to make sure there's an injury that I did not miss out on, because hell, I can't be the guy taking KJ Osborne whenever he tore his knee up 30 minutes before. But that didn't happen. I ended up just getting a beautiful value with KJ Osborne. And at the same time, came across one of his tweets that was pretty interesting. It said, keep on stacking good days. That's something I think that is pretty important. And we are going to continue to stack up those good days. We are going to continue to do these real money fantasy football drafts every single night, because in my opinion, there's nothing more fun. And we just pulled the 102. I mean, getting a top 5 pick is fantastic. Let me share this screen with y'all real quick. And as I do this, make sure you go down there, drop a like on the live stream, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. We are on our way to 90,000 subscribers. If we hit 90,000 subscribers before the season starts, we will go ahead. We will get a 24-hour live stream going. It'll be a draft marathon. It will be crazy. I don't know how I'll do it, but we'll find a way. And at the 102 here, there's a real chance we get Jonathan Taylor. I mean, I've been pushing back on this. I've been trying to fight the good fight, but a lot of people are now of the opinion that you need to go Christian McCaffrey at the 101 because Christian McCaffrey has a higher ceiling than Jonathan Taylor, because you can't predict injuries in fantasy football. And I definitely agree. CMC has a higher ceiling than Jonathan Taylor. And I agree that, yes, 9 times out of 10, the fantasy football community is overly confident with their ability to predict injuries. And if you're trying to do so, you're probably going to be wrong. But if we are going to be intellectually honest with each other, come on, guys. Jonathan Taylor has missed 1 game of organized football over the past 5 years, and it was due to a COVID close contact. The man's going into year 3, still on his rookie contract. Christian McCaffrey's going into year 3 of his second deal. Now, we end up getting CMC fall down to as a 2. We don't end up with Jonathan Taylor at the 2nd pick overall. I just definitely want to address that, because I know a lot of very smart people are saying to draft Christian McCaffrey at the 101. So it is a little bit scary to go against them, because of course there are people way smarter than me saying to draft CMC at 1. But regardless, I'm happy getting him at 2. But oh dear God, I just pulled up the live chat and we have a ridiculous amount of people out here. Thank y'all so much for coming out. Let's see if we can get 1,000 likes in this live stream tonight. I will try to get y'all 4 drafts tonight. We've had 4 drafts pretty much every single night over the past week. At least it seems like it. We are firing up 4 drafts every single night. And real quick, if you are new to the live stream somehow, if you don't know where we are drafting, if you aren't getting in these drafts with us, make sure you go fix your life. Make sure you go to the link in the description of the video, the link in the live chat, the link in the comment section. Go check out Underdog Fantasy, where I draft all day, every day. And when you go and get in your first draft on Underdog Fantasy, they will match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to 100. You'll get our 2022 fantasy football rankings. You'll get our 2022 fantasy football draft guide, nearly 300 pages of information with a $10 deposit. So please make sure you take advantage of that. But thank y'all so much, everybody coming out here. Scissor says, you best believe I'll try to join the 2nd draft. Have we gotten in a draft together? I know you've come out to the live stream probably about 5 times this offseason, and obviously we drafted a lot together last year. But have we gotten in a draft together this year, Scissors? Let me know. Let me know. And now we have Joe Mixon, Saquon Barkley off the board, 14-15. If y'all haven't noticed, Saquon Barkley is going earlier now than he's gone in a very long time. I mean, Saquon Barkley is now consistently going before DeAndre Swift, consistently going before Aaron Jones. And we talked about this back when I made a must draft running back video when Saquon Barkley had an ADP at the beginning of the 3rd round. We were saying, hell, if you're willing to roll the dice and to say injuries are random and to take Christian McCaffrey at the very beginning of the 1st, you better be willing to do the same thing with Saquon Barkley in the 2nd round, given the fact that here with Saquon Barkley, we know that he has access to an elite level ceiling. If you're looking at his size adjusted athleticism, if you're looking at his receiving game skill set. Now, I'm not as excited about drafting him at pick 15 as we were when we made that video when he was going at the 2-3 turn. But this is a very boring selection, guys. I understand. We are going to go ahead. We're going to take Tyreek Hill. Here on Underdog, you're going to notice that these wide receivers, they fly up draft boards. You have to start 3 of these guys. It's not the most exciting pick in the world. I think with Tyreek Hill, he's in the same tier of a couple of these other wide receivers at this point, despite being attached to the most accurate quarterback in the NFL, and according to Tyreek Hill himself, getting that quarterback upgrade because you prefer the accuracy over the arm strength. Of course, that's a joke. And I will say, even though I like making that joke on Tyreek Hill, the man said what he's supposed to. He can't go out there. He can't look the cameras in the eye and say, oh, yeah, no, we are definitely looking at a massive downgrade here from Patrick Mahomes to Tua Tagovailoa. I can't lie to you. No, he has to come out. He has to try to spin it and speak favorably on his new quarterback, of course. But I think we're going to go ahead and take T. Higgins here as well. T. Higgins in the same exact tier that we would have with Tyreek Hill. Nick Chubb at the beginning of the third is a screaming value. Trust me, if we did not have to draft 3 wide receivers in this format, I am smashing Nick Chubb every single day. And I'm sure if y'all watch enough of these live streams, you've seen that Nick Chubb is one of my most drafted players here in the third round, just because I think if we're comparing him to other running backs in the same tier, guys like Leonard Fournette and Javonte Williams, I personally probably preferred Nick Chubb. I thought that he was one of the worst picks in fantasy last year when he was going in the first round, but now getting Nick Chubb in round 3, when we have spoken about this all offseason, we talked about this all offseason, that Nick Chubb is in the best situation that he's been in over the past 3 years. You have potentially the Cleveland Browns with Deshaun Watson in the second half of the season. And if Watson comes in, yes, this team may look to throw the ball a little bit more, but the red zone opportunities will be sky high because this will be the best offense that Nick Chubb's ever played in. And we talked about this specifically on the Dynasty channel a couple months ago. It is a possibility Kareem Hunt gets traded. We talked about it a couple months ago. I thought it wasn't going to happen because we are so close to the season at this point. And I don't want to act like it's a guarantee that Kareem Hunt is traded out of Cleveland. Like if you gave me $100 and you said, Mason, you have this $100. Where are you going to bet that Kareem Hunt is in 2022? You have to bet that somehow the Cleveland Browns make the money work. They go through, they give Kareem Hunt a meaningless extension, yada, yada, yada. I would bet Hunt is still in Cleveland, but going back to what we were really talking about over the past 2 months on this channel, Nick Chubb has league-winning upside in the third. If you were drafting a committee running back in the first round last year with Nick Chubb, no, he didn't have league-winning upside at that price point, but at a much cheaper opportunity cost, and at the same time, in potentially a better situation, Nick Chubb is a dream here in the third round. I mean, everybody in the live chat right now, please, I'm going to give you 3 names and tell me who you would want if Kareem Hunt was traded out of Cleveland. Kareem Hunt's traded out of Cleveland, and it's Nick Chubb and Dearness Johnson. These 3 names, Saquon Barkley, DeAndre Swift, Nick Chubb. I'm not joking. I probably lean Nick Chubb there if Kareem Hunt is moved out of Cleveland. I think at this point it's unlikely, but because I've drafted Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt nonstop this offseason, you better believe I want it to happen. I would love for that to happen because I feel like we would be making a decent amount of money. And yeah, it looks like most people are saying Nick Chubb. I'm there with you. I think if that were to happen, if Nick Chubb is in the backfield with no Kareem Hunt, I'm probably pushing him over those running backs as well. I think Nick Chubb would slide right behind Najee Harris as a late first round selection. Hell, that's where he was going in these drafts last year. And Kareem Hunt would be gone. Kareem Hunt, from a talent perspective, is easily a top 15 running back in the NFL. Scissors says, hell, I think Nick Chubb over Derrick Henry at that point. I mean, if we're going to be realistic, from a pure rusher standpoint, how many running backs in the NFL are more talented than Nick Chubb? And if we're comparing Nick Chubb to Derrick Henry, like Scissors just brings up, hell, Nick Chubb is the better offensive line, potentially the better quarterback play. He's younger. I don't want to keep on going down that rabbit hole, but I think that may be the case. We're going to take Jerry Jeudy here. I was not a big fan of taking Jerry Jeudy at the end of the 4th round before the Tim Patrick injury. I thought that taking Cortland Sutton at the end of the 3rd, taking Jerry Jeudy at the end of the 4th, probably not the way we wanted to be attacking the position. But now that Tim Patrick's gone, it's a completely different landscape in Denver. Now that Tim Patrick's gone, you were looking at Jerry Jeudy. In my opinion, he was always the wide receiver 1, but now in a more condensed offense between those 2 top options, hell, Jerry Jeudy dominated Cortland Sutton last year as the wide receiver 1 in Denver. We've been talking about this all offseason. If you look at the splits in games that they play together, Jerry Jeudy, 46 receiving yards per game, Cortland Sutton, 23 receiving yards per game, and the 11 games they played together over the past 2 seasons. And yes, we did that off the top of the head, but that's just because I've talked about this for God knows how long now. So no Tim Patrick, who's led the Denver Broncos in touchdowns over the past 2 years. We'll bump up Jerry Jeudy from not being a player I was that excited about drafting in the 4-5 turn previous to now, in my opinion, a great value at this point. Once Deontay Johnson's off the board, I'm completely fine taking Jerry Jeudy. We are going to go ahead. We're going to take Lamar Jackson as well. I mean, here with Lamar Jackson, the quarterback one in fantasy in 2019. Not only in 2019 was he the quarterback one that season, but he also put up the best fantasy football season of all time at the quarterback position. Better than 2013 Peyton Manning in Denver, when Peyton Manning had 55 passing touchdowns and 5,500 passing yards. Now, let me confirm that those were Peyton Manning statistics, but I believe that is correct. I know it's 100% correct that Peyton Manning was the all-time leading quarterback scorer in 2013, and then Lamar Jackson overtook him in 2019. But let me make sure I have the touchdowns and passing yards correct. I'm sorry, it was not 5,500 passing yards. It was 5,477. So we were off by 23 yards, and we were right on the 55 passing touchdowns. But Lamar Jackson has it in his range of outcomes to just completely break fantasy football and give you a ceiling that's even higher than that. Okay, Hunter says you took my Baltimore duo. I mean, we just took one guy. I just took Lamar Jackson. Oh, I'm assuming. Okay, so he's drafting at the 103. He took Mark Andrews at 22. Obviously wanting to have Lamar Jackson make it back to him at 51 so we could get the stack there with Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews. I just personally can't take those mid-tier wide receivers that go in round 5. Guys like Juju, DK Metcalf, Brandon Cooks, Rashad Bateman, Darnell Mooney, Adam Thielen. If we have a Lamar Jackson or a Patrick Mahomes available to us, I have to take Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes. I just have to, guys. Ryan says, I'm liking your draft except for the Jerry Jeudy over Breece Hall pick. Ouch. Okay. Ryan, I'm going to have to ask you to do something real quick. I don't know if you are sitting in a dark room and your phone brightness is all the way down. I don't know if you're having difficulties looking at this draft board, but whatever you can do, fix your phone, fix your eyes, maybe throw on some glasses, because no, we took Jerry Jeudy after Breece Hall. If Breece Hall was available, of course, we would have taken Breece Hall over Jerry Jeudy. But sadly, we did not have that option. So I can't take control of this league and force us to have a pick swap and get Breece Hall there. Okay. So we have Jalen Hurts pick 65. Adam says, what are your thoughts on my team? Pick 8, Mason. Okay, let's go through. Let's check out Adam's team. He goes Derrick Henry at 8. I mean, I know a lot of people just watching this live stream are going to be freaking out going, oh my gosh, Derrick Henry at pick 8. That's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Guys, this is where his ADP is on Underdog. I mean, I agree with you. I think it's good Derrick Henry value. I mean, I get attacked by people in the YouTube comment section when I say Derrick Henry shouldn't be a top 5 pick because there are red flags, and Derrick Henry's in a massive tier of those running backs after Jonathan Taylor and Christian McCaffrey, and we prefer the top 3 elite level wide receivers over all those tier 2 running backs. But on Underdog, people really don't like Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry sometimes falls down to 11, 12. At 8, I'm completely fine taking him. Aaron Jones, 17. I really like that value. Love Kyle Pitts in the 3rd. Deontay Johnson in the 4th is someone that you're reaching on slightly, but still, I mean, y'all know I'm a Deontay Johnson fan. Brandon Cooks, pick 56. I don't love Brandon Cooks, but I would say when you pass on wide receiver through the first 3 rounds, you have to take someone here. And then Jalen Hurts, 65. I really do like that Jalen Hurts selection. But let's scroll back around. Not a massive fan of what we have sitting here on the clock for us. I'm not going to take Dalton Schultz. Y'all know I'm not a big Dalton Schultz fan. We're going to go with DeAndre Hopkins here. If this was not a league where we had to prioritize scoring in weeks 15, 16, and 17, I wouldn't take DeAndre Hopkins. And instead, I would go through and I'd take Devontae Smith. But because this is that best ball format that has that massive tournament during weeks 15, 16, and 17, I will sacrifice our median projection with this team so we can have the asymmetrical upside where it really counts at the very end of the season there. Okay, so Dalton Schultz goes to No Soup For You. No Soup For You is a member of the flock. I'm assuming watching this live stream. Maybe they're not watching this live stream and they're just grinding away in drafts right now. So Dalton Schultz, 72. Obviously, this is slightly behind his ADP. I just can't get there. We will go ahead. We'll take Devonta Smith. I'm completely fine taking Smith. We are getting him here as our wide receiver 5. I know that this is Not typically how it looks like we build our core, because usually we're going with Nick Chubb there in the third round. To be completely honest with you, if I knew we were going to get Jerry Jeudy at pick 47, DeAndre Hopkins 71, Devonta Smith 74, I probably would go back in that time machine. I probably would take Nick Chubb there in the third rounds, but hell, you don't know that at the time of the draft, so you just got to do what's, in your opinion, the best possible thing, trying to hunt value later on. And guys, I've done, at this point, almost 500 of these drafts. Very rarely are you getting the combination of Tyreek Hill and T. Higgins, because T. Higgins on Underdog, when you have to start 3 wide receivers, regularly slides into the second round. So that's why I felt like we had to go ahead. We had to take T. Higgins. Like, trust me, I have way more Nick Chubb in these drafts than Higgins. Luke says, when is the next stream on the Dynasty channel? I will try to get one going relatively soon. It's hard for me just because I want to stream these Underdog drafts every single night. I mean, y'all know Dynasty Fantasy Football is my number one love. And that's why we talk about Dynasty Fantasy Football for the majority part of the year. But there's only about a month that we have leading up to redraft season. And if I'm talking Dynasty Fantasy Football 365 days a year like I do, you do get burnt out a little bit. And these Underdog streams are just so much fun for me to have. I'm legitimately, guys, in these drafts all freaking day long. I know y'all see me in the public lobby sitting there drafting all day, and it's even more fun when I can live stream, because it's like we're all hanging out drafting together. LOLG says, hey Mason, I have Debo 2 tiers higher than Tyreek Hill. Oh dear God, my man. You got to let me know. You got to let me know why you have Debo Samuel 2 tiers higher than Tyreek Hill. Johnny Boom says, the Broncos have watched Sutton play for 5 years and signed him to a 4-year, $60 million contract. You might be right, and he sucks, and the Broncos are stupid. I don't want to say Courtland Sutton sucks. I'll say that Jerry Jeudy's a better wide receiver. I'll say that I think Courtland Sutton's slightly overvalued if he's going in the middle of the third. I thought he was an atrocious pick in the third round before the Tim Patrick injury. But if I'm going to go ahead and pull up my updated ranking on Courtland Sutton, we had him as a late 5th round pick before the Tim Patrick injury, and he was going in the third on Underdog, so I simply never drafted him. I thought he was the worst pick in fantasy because we had him as a late 5th, and he was going in the third. Now, I do have Courtland Sutton as the wide receiver 19. I have Courtland Sutton as a pick that should be a late 4th round, early 5th round selection. So I'm probably still not going to be drafting a lot of Sutton. Like, used to have him late 5th. Now I have him late 4th. I don't think there are any players that go in the 4th round that, quote unquote, suck, my man. Okay. So Adam says, Mason, why are you skipping my question, LOL? This is the first message I've seen from you, Adam. We have 500 people in the live chat. Sadly, I cannot read every single question. Now, we have Miles Sanders off the board, 86, Dak Prescott, 85. These would have been players I would have been excited about taking down there at pick 95, but the reality is those guys are never making it to pick 95, so it really doesn't even matter if we would have been excited or not. Okay, Tony Pollard, 87. I would have drafted Pollard if he would have fallen the, 12 picks past his ADP to make it to us, but still at the same time, I'm very, very rarely drafting Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard's one of my least drafted players. Whenever he used to have an ADP 10 picks before Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He used to have an ADP before Miles Sanders. Like, how the hell am I supposed to draft freaking Tony Pollard there? We have a question in the live chat. Is it wrong to like broccoli? It is not wrong to like broccoli. It is a wonderful life enjoying broccoli. Like, broccoli is one of my favorite foods. Of course, I don't eat it by itself. I'm not a crazy person, but I just pretty much throw it in everything. Okay. Josh Roth on the clock. They go Rashad Penny, 92. Great. Get Penny off the board. I have no interest in Rashad Penny. Kareem Hunt goes 93. Hunt would have been a player that we were looking at grabbing. Marquez Valdez-Scantling off. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Sky Moore here. I've been on record saying that I think the Kansas City Chiefs offense in general is severely undervalued across the board. I'm pretty much fine taking any Kansas City Chief player before their ADP outside of Juju Smith-Schuster. Juju going in the 5th round is going to be a little bit rich for me, but outside of that, I love all these guys. Okay, at this point, where do we want to take this? Spam the chat. What name do you want right now? Personally, I would lean a James Cook over these guys. But I've already drafted so much James Cook. I haven't drafted Ramondre Stevenson in like the last 2 weeks now that he's going in the 9th round. I still may end up taking James Cook. Let me know what you are thinking, guys. Casey says Ramondre Stevenson. Someone says Devin Singletary. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take James Cook. I understand we're reaching a little bit on James Cook here, but I'm looking at a running back that automatically, the day he steps into Buffalo, is going to be the passing down running back for one of the most electric offenses in the NFL. And while I don't love James Cook from a talent perspective, like from a dynasty fantasy football perspective, I thought if anything, he was a little bit overvalued because this was a running back that had a BMI of 27.8, weighs 199 pounds. But despite the profile, despite the actual talent, I can put that aside and I can say for this upcoming season, he is in a fantastic situation. Now, how he's actually going to turn into a league winner is very simple. It's not guaranteed. If it was guaranteed, he would be going significantly higher than this. I mean, he would be going up next to Breece Hall if this was going to be the case. But what you would want to see from James Cook for him to truly become a league-winning player, I don't know if it's going to happen. I would say it's unlikely, but that's why he's going in the 9th round, guys. That's why he's not going in the 4th. If he can come out and get the red zone role in Buffalo and turn into a poor man's DeAndre Swift, a poor man's Travis Etienne for the Buffalo Bills, that would be electric. That would be beautiful. A running back getting every high-value touch in an offense that's going to have a ridiculous amount of them. And the reason I'm saying that it's in the range of outcomes, it's at least possible, is while I do want to come out here and I want to put my stamp on it, from a dynasty fantasy football perspective, you still prefer the elite level wide receivers over James Cook. We were talking about it in the offseason from their entire careers, not just this year. But if we're looking at their entire careers, you still prefer the wide receivers like Jameson Williams, Chris Olave. I mean, you prefer Kenny Pickett in a super flex league. You prefer someone like Sky Moore. I still prefer those wide receivers that check every single box. But this upcoming season, it's possible that this is a running back that does get the red zone role, because at the end of the day, while yes, James Cook's undersized, Devin Singletary is 5'7" and 203 pounds. So it's not like Devin Singletary is the best red zone running back in the NFL either. So I'm completely fine drafting James Cook in 98. It's tough because we are in a little bit of no man's land, but we hadn't taken a running back since Christian McCaffrey. We want to try to target guys that can back half their production for weeks 15, 16, and 17, and I think he can do that. LOLG says, love taking Saquon Barkley and Leonard Fournette, never taking Elijah Mitchell. Okay, let me see if you got back to us in the general chat regarding the Deebo Samuel versus Tyreek Hill take. Okay, so I just feel like that Waddle will outshine Tyreek Hill, and even if he won't be the wide receiver one, he will still be great. While Deebo Samuel was a top 5 wide receiver last year, I do believe that Hill has some upside, though. I mean, I've been on record as well saying that I think it's in the range of outcomes. I don't think it's likely. I'm not ranking it for this case. But I'm not going to be surprised if Jalen Waddle, based on what we saw his rookie season, based on the rapport that he has with Tua Tagovailoa, comes out and is the is the wide receiver one for the Miami Dolphins. Regardless of whatever it's going to be like, I think it's going to be a wide receiver 1A, wide receiver 1B type situation in Miami. I think the defense is probably just going to have to pick their poison between the speed of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. But Tyreek at the 211, I feel like we have to take him here. Trust me, I haven't drafted a ton of Tyreek, but at the 211, it's a pick we have to make. Dawson Knox off the board. Y'all know I'm not really interested in Dawson Knox at his ADP at all. I mean, usually even goes before this. Dawson Knox has an ADP of 104, where you usually have to take him before guys like James Cook, which in my opinion is going to be extremely rich. Now you have Zach Ertz off the board, 114. Aaron Rodgers gone. Rodgers would have been someone that would have been in play for us because you've had Christian Watson falling. You can sometimes get Sammy Watkins in the last 3 rounds, but obviously we are now no longer going to be looking at Aaron Rodgers. Melvin Gordon off the board, 116. Kopay on the clock. They have 1 quarterback, 4 running backs, 4 wide receivers, no tight ends. I would be surprised if they would have reached on a Cole Kmet. They go Isaiah Spiller. Did they take Justin Herbert? No, they just wanted him. Thank God. Okay, I was so worried. I thought we were going to get boxed out of yet again another tier. I thought we were going to be looking at the tier of Rachaad White, Kenny Galladay, Cole Hardman, going, okay, I don't know who to pick. Let's just throw our hands up in the air. But no, we get a 2nd round drafted NFL running back with an elite athletic profile. Now, yes, he's not going to catch passes. Yes, he's behind one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL, if not the worst offensive line in the NFL. But that's why you're getting him here at pick 119. Kenneth Walker is a no-brainer selection here. I'm making that pick and not thinking twice. And in regards to what we're doing at the beginning of the 11th round, I'm not taking these tight ends. I think the tight ends that we are going to be looking at 4 rounds from now will be almost identical to these guys. I'm never taking these tight ends over the running backs or wide receivers that would be available. I do kind of feel like we're in no man's land. Hell, let's just take Golladay. Like, if we have Patrick Mahomes, I'm completely fine taking Mecole Hardman. And I've drafted a lot of Mecole Hardman because Patrick Mahomes is my most drafted quarterback this season, because you get Mahomes consistently in the 5th round. Sometimes he slides to the end of the 5th on underdog. But let's go Golladay when we get the chance. I feel like I've drafted a lot of Golladay as well. Let me go through and pull up exactly how much Kenny Golladay I've drafted. And guys, real quick, if y'all have not done so already, please go down there, drop a like on the live stream. Let's get this live stream over 1,000 likes. That way we can pump this live stream to some new listeners, because we are on our way to 90,000 subscribers. If we hit 90,000 subscribers, I am going to get y'all a 24-hour live stream draft marathon. You heard that correctly. I will get you a 24-hour live stream draft marathon if we hit 90,000 subscribers. I know everybody watching this is already subscribed, so all I ask is you drop a like. That way, maybe we have this recommended to some people who may not be subscribed as is. But let me get back to how much Kenny Golladay I've drafted, because it feels like, based on how these tiers have broken down as of late, I've been taking a ton of Golladay. I have Golladay in 12% of leagues. I mean, if you're looking at Kenny Galladay's ADP, I think it is reasonable. He was the wide receiver 9 2 years ago. Now, of course, that was with Matthew Stafford. That wasn't with Daniel Jones. And some people thought Kenny Golladay was the next Stephon Diggs last year, which was pretty funny. I had a lot of people in my Patreon community trying to tell me that Kenny Golladay was the next Stephon Diggs, trying to get me to hear them out. I was like, okay, all right, what are you smoking, my friend? But regardless, I think you are getting a strong discount here. Hopefully, Brian Daboll can save the New York Giants. So in the 11th round, it's going to be a completely fine pick compared to the other wide receivers going in this range. LOLG says, if you were in $1,000 draft, you're going to go Kupp or Justin Jefferson. At this point, with the Matthew Stafford report on his elbow, a lot of people wanted to put Jefferson over Kupp to begin with, and I was very reluctant. I was saying, no, we're going to keep it as it is. We're going to go with Cooper Kupp. But now that we have the Stafford report, I'm using the tie break, and I'm going to be going with Justin Jefferson. And guys, those rankings that I put out, I used those rankings in my drafts. Like, we took Christian McCaffrey in our $500 draft at the 104. Despite it being a $500 draft, and obviously you're very scared. I mean, it's $500 in the prize pool. It's terrifying. It's a $6,000 pot between the 12 teams. We still follow our rankings. We still go CMC. And if I have Justin Jefferson now ranked a wide receiver 1, like we talked about in the video today, doesn't matter what the buy-in is, I'm going to be going Justin Jefferson. Fallon, he says, yo, I've been loving my 4 running back builds in the Puppy 3. I have been testing out some hyper fragile builds. Obviously, this is such a large contest, guys. If y'all don't know what the Puppy 3 is, on Underdog Fantasy, if you enter the Puppy 3, you can get in regular drafts as well, but they have these tournament drafts like the Puppy 3, Best Ball Mania. They're going to be massive fields. Like the Puppy 3 is a $5 buy-in. There's a $1 million prize pool, and how it works is in your 12-team league, first place gets paid, second place gets paid, but a small percentage of every single league pot is set aside for the fantasy football tournament at the very end of the season, weeks 15, 16, and 17, and that's where the real money is up for grabs. And first place and second place in every 12-team league makes it to that playoff stretch. So that's why we go ahead, we prioritize someone like a DeAndre Hopkins in this format. That's why I honestly want to prioritize Gallup here, but can we get away with, you know what, we can. We can get away with drafting 8 wide receivers. I understand Gallup's going to miss the beginning portion of the season. Yes, with the injury, he will. But at the same time, I think that Gallup is a great value here and has the elite level ceiling that we're looking for in weeks 15, 16, and 17. So we've definitely gone overboard with wide receiver. We can't draft another wide receiver with how early we've taken these guys. From here, I think we have to probably fire up some more running backs, possibly some tight ends. Because we already have 2 rookie running backs with James Cook and Kenneth Walker here, instead of taking Tyler Algier, I'm going to just go over to the tight end position. We're going to look at Albert O. Remember, this was also a draft where we decided to go ahead and take Jerry Jeudy at the end of round 4. So we are getting some correlation in here with this Denver Broncos passing core. And like I said, guys, I was not a massive fan on these Denver Broncos pass catchers. Their value outside of the 2 guys I was drafting, Tim Patrick and KJ Hamler, because my thesis was that this offense was going to be so dispersed with all the weapons they had across the board that it was going to be very hard for Courtland Sutton to return value on a 3rd round price tag. It was going to be very hard for Jerry Jeudy to return value on a 4th round price tag. Now that Tim Patrick's gone, everything changes. Everything changes. So I'll be more excited about grabbing Alberto here, despite the Greg Dulcich rumors that he is possibly going to be the primary passing down tight end running routes for the Denver Broncos, while Albert O is more the inline blocker. Hell, Albert O has been hyper efficient through his first 2 years of his NFL career. And if the Denver Broncos were not very confident with Albert O, I felt like they wouldn't have just thrown Noah Fant into that deal to grab Wilson. Okay. Let's go through. Okay, Luke, let me go ahead. You're saying that there are spammers. I'm going to make you a moderator, my man. I thought you were a moderator already. But if anybody is spamming something over and over again in the chat and you're a moderator, just go through and don't ban them from the channel. Just hit put user in timeout and it'll mute them for 5 minutes. They should get the idea to not keep spamming. Falony says, what do you think of my 106 build? Falony's also been a long time member of the flock. I mean, drafting with us last year nonstop as well. Let me go ahead. Let me make you a moderator before we go check out your team at the 106. And this team at the 106 starts Stephon Diggs, goes Kamara in round 2. So Kamara has been a running back flying up draft boards. Now that you get a report that sounds like Kamara's not going to miss any time this season based on how they're able to push these court dates back. Now, what I will say is I'm not a lawyer. I'm not smart enough to really understand exactly what's going to happen. But when there's fear, we attack. That's why we were drafting Kamara in the 4th round whenever he was dipping there in freaking tournament-style drafts. But Kamara at pick 19, I do feel like there's some risk here with the suspension. I feel like you are paying a slight premium. This is about the highest I would take him. I'm completely fine with it, though, given the upside. James Conner at pick 30. I'm not a fan of this, my dude. I understand you want to go through and you want to attack it with a hyper-fragile build. And I feel like it's smart to do so when you're getting value falling to you at the running back position and you feel like you're going to be able to take advantage of the draft board the rest of the way. But I feel like reaching on Connor a little bit here over someone like Kyle Pitts isn't exactly what I'm trying to accomplish. Like, I probably would have taken an elite level tight end either at the James Conner pick or at the George Kittle pick. Like, in reality this year, what's the main difference that you're going to see between, say, David Montgomery and Elijah Mitchell? I think that, yeah, I agree. I 100% prefer David Montgomery or even Ezekiel Elliott and Elijah Mitchell. But I think the gap that you're going to see with those tight ends that you decided to pass on and whoever you get later on is going to be larger than the gap of the running back that you get grabbed. So personally, I probably would have taken a tight end a little bit early, not forced the hyper fragile build. And instead, I know you draft in a ton of these leagues. I would have just tried to make it work in a little bit of a different way. Now, Marvin Jones off the board. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Gerald Everett. I mean, guys, we have to grab 3 tight ends here. We waited until the 13th round to take our first tight end in Alberto. I'm going to be completely fine to take 2 tight ends here. Guys that I think have spike week upside every single week. And I believe we have 4 picks left after this. So then we could decide to go ahead and either take 3 quarterbacks and 5 running backs. No, we can't do that. We're 2 quarterbacks and 5 running backs on this team. If we take another tight end here. Yeah, we're 2 quarterbacks and 5 running backs. So let's think through this. These tight ends I love. I love this Robert Tonyan price point. I think the tight ends we're going to be looking at on the way back around, we'd be lucky to get Austin Hooper back to us. So in a best ball format where we're trying to access an elite level ceiling, I like the idea of going through and grabbing 2 of these tight ends here that could see that touchdown upside on a week-to-week basis. Let's go through. Let's show this draft board. I think we are going to need an earlier breakout than expected from one of those running backs that we grabbed if we really want to have some upside here. I think that there's one pick. I wish I could go back. I wish I could change the selection I'm about to show you. But so far, running back, we have Christian McCaffrey, James Cook, Kenneth Walker. Quarterback, we have Lamar Jackson. Wide receiver, we have Tyreek Hill, T. Higgins, Jerry Jeudy, DeAndre Hopkins, Devonta Smith, Sky Moore, Kenny Golladay, and Michael Gallup. Now, the one pick, in my opinion, that was very bad, I think we should not have made it, was the Kenny Golladay selection at 122. Now, with Golladay, is 100% no man's land. Very hard to figure out exactly what we should be doing here, if we're going to be honest. Like, the reason I'm not taking Cole Kmet, the reason I'm not taking Irv Smith Jr. here where their ADPs are, is because the tight ends we just grabbed, someone like Robert Tonyan to pick 170, I'm viewing him in a very similar light if we're looking at the actual raw expected points that we are going to get this upcoming season. The video yesterday, we showed that getting the tight end 8 versus the tight end 20 in fantasy is almost the exact same thing. So when we're looking at this tier, I'm just going to take the cheaper option. But what we probably should have done is we probably should have passed on Kenny Golladay, taken a running back there. The running back I would have grabbed would have either been Alexander Madison or Darrell Henderson. Funny that Alexander Madison would have almost fallen to us at 143. If we got Alexander Mattison at 143, this would have been the perfect draft and I would have no regrets. But yeah, I think that one regret we can have is maybe going a little bit too wide receiver heavy. If we would have had Alexander Mattison or Darrell Henderson instead of Golladay, I think we'd be sitting in a pretty spot. But regardless, I think we are still with a pretty strong roster. Okay. So now we have Darrell Williams, Tyrion Davis-Price, Jamal Williams off the board. We're definitely needing these running backs making it back to us. Like, I can't hide it. We really want these running backs on the way back around. We want to see tight ends off the board. We want to see wide receivers off the board. But every running back that goes is a small stab in the heart. Just not a massive stab in the heart, but definitely a small little stab in the heart there. Casey says, "Sup, Mason, do you have a take on Romeo Doubs? I don't know what to make of him. Personally, I think that he was an intriguing shot if you were getting him in the 18th round earlier in underdog drafts. I wasn't taking a ton of them because I was looking at the profile of Doubs compared to Christian Watson. Christian Watson, obviously a much better athlete. Now, athleticism doesn't necessarily translate to fantasy football production at the wide receiver position as it does running back, as we have proven time and time again in our Dynasty Rookie Draft Guides. But still, it is nice. And Christian Watson, he was hyper productive. He was significantly more productive as a wide receiver compared to Doubs in college if you're adjusting for the offenses that they played in. And then even further than that, he gets the draft capital as a top 5 pick in the 2nd round. Like, across the board, Christian Watson's my guy. I'll have a video coming out in 2 days looking at the gap closing between their ADPs, where now a lot of people are saying that Christian Watson's going to be outscored by Doubs this upcoming season. I think people are going maybe a little bit overboard. Let's here probably just take a running back that... let's take J.D. McKissic. Let's take a running back that can have a role on a week-to-week basis. We're already relying that we're going to get that running back 1 production from Christian McCaffrey every single week. Guys, I know you may not believe me on this one, but if Christian McCaffrey goes down, this team's dead regardless. This team has a 0% chance to win if Christian McCaffrey gets injured. So we're already having to rely on Christian McCaffrey staying healthy this entire season. We just need one breakout from James Cook or Kenneth Walker. Don't exactly know who it's going to come from, but we are drafting for the highest ceiling possible. Keep that in mind. Let's see what No Soup For You does. He takes Chris Evans, a running back that I'm not drafting at all. Okay, Odell Beckham Jr., 193. What are we looking at this point? Do we just take Mostert? I guess we have Tane up by. Let's go ahead. Let's take Mostert, and we'll figure out what quarterback we are getting on the way back around, but I'm not going to waste your time. What we really hope for is we hope we get Baker Mayfield. We stack him up with Christian McCaffrey. If we don't get Baker, we are just going to take one of Tannehill, Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, Davis Mills. Lamar's our quarterback. We're going to get one of these guys. Don't know exactly what it's going to be, but I don't want to waste your time, so let me queue up these quarterbacks, and we will go ahead. We will fire up our next fantasy football draft. This is yet again going to be on Underdog, so if you have not done so already, go to the link in the live chat. Go to the link in the description of the video. Go sign up for Underdog Fantasy so you can get in these drafts with us, which we do every single night on the live stream. And when you sign up for Underdog Fantasy, use promo code FLOCK. They will match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. You'll get our 2022 rankings, our 2022 fantasy football draft guide, literally with a $10 deposit on Underdog. You are going to get 300 pages of our fantasy football draft guide, and they're going to add another $10 into your account. So you're getting paid to play fantasy football. You're getting our draft guide for free. You're going to have some fun drafting with us in the live stream. And we got Derek in this draft. We have TP the Kid in this draft. We have No Soup For You in this draft. We have Mr. Cali Pappy in this draft. We have FSU for Cole in this draft. So many members of the flock here. It's going to be definitely a battle. But thank you guys. Of course, y'all know I appreciate you. We're going to go through. We're going to continue to fire up as many of these as we can. Now, LOLG says, when people take Pittman over T. Higgins / DJ Moore, I get sick. I can at least see the argument in taking Pittman over DJ Moore if you strongly believe that Matt Ryan is that much better of a quarterback than Baker Mayfield at this point of his NFL career. I can at least entertain the argument that people have to take Michael Pittman Jr. over DJ Moore. Like, I don't agree with it. In a full PPR format, I have DJ Moore ranked higher. But when people feel the need to put Michael Pittman Jr. over T. Higgins, I can't see their argument. I legitimately can't. The passing volume that you're going to get in Cincinnati is going to be through the freaking roof. If we're looking at the total passing yards that you'll have from the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Indianapolis Colts at the end of the season, it's going to be a night and day difference. And in Cincinnati, they condensed that target tree so much that literally, let me pull this up in our draft guide because it is one of my favorite statistics. Keep in mind, you do have T. Higgins missing about 2 games this past year. I think it was 2, maybe it was 3 games. So it's not necessarily as extreme as what it could be. But Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, and T. Higgins combined for 332 targets. All other wide receivers in Cincinnati had 27. So yes, he has to go up against Jamar Chase. But this offense is not going to be spread out at all. It's just going to be funneled through those 2 guys. Which is why, personally, I'm very excited to go ahead. I'm very excited to draft T. Higgins. Not necessarily an underdog whenever he's going through and being drafted at the end of the second round. There, I think it's a little bit rich. We had a quote-unquote reach on him in the last draft. It is what it is. Now we're going to get Derrick Henry at pick 9. Yeah, Derrick Henry shouldn't be drafted in the top 5. I think you should have Taylor, CMC, Kupp, Jefferson, Chase, and then a massive tier of running backs, and you can order them whichever way you want. But getting Derrick Henry at 9, you got to admit that's great value. And if we were not drafting with members of the flock here, I think we could confidently say that we could get Joe Mixon on the way back around. But because we have to draft next to TP the Kid, I don't know how likely it's going to be that we actually get Joe Mixon on the way back around. But it is what it is. Scissor says, I'm a Higgins, then Pittman, then DJ Moore kind of guy. Yeah, I think that's what I was saying earlier. I'm still not going to get on board with Michael Pittman over DJ Moore based on the target share DJ Moore's averaged over the past 3 years at such a young age. But I at least can understand it. I can understand the argument that you would have to take Matt Ryan over Michael Pittman over DJ Moore. I just can't understand the argument for Pittman over T. Higgins. Now, we just passed 350 likes in the live stream. Thank you all so much for going down there and dropping a like on the stream. If you have not done so already, drop that like on the live stream. Let's get to 90,000 subscribers. We hit 90,000 subscribers. We do a 24-hour live stream draft marathon. And Scissors, my man, I got to ask you this one thing. If we do that 24-hour live stream draft marathon, could you come in and do one draft with us? It can be at 2, 3 a.m. when nobody's paying attention. Regardless, I would love to draft with you. It'd mean a lot for me. It can be at 2 or 3 a.m. when nobody's watching. But if we do that 24-hour live stream, love to get you in here for a draft. And now we're going to go ahead. We're going to have a blessing with CeeDee Lamb there at pick 16. With Lamb, he's playing in an offense that's going to push the pace of play, possibly be only behind the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with their passing rate over expectation this upcoming season. You have so many targets available with the departure of Amari Cooper, as well as the departure of Cedric Wilson, as well as the injury to Michael Gallup, as well as the injury to James Washington. So let's go ahead. Let's take Lamb there. Scissors says, I'll make an appearance. Super happy to hear that. Don't know how likely it is for us to get to 90,000 subscribers. Hopefully we can do it. So if y'all want to see Scissors on here on the live stream, drafting with us, you know what you need to do. You need to drop a like, not only on this live stream, but on every single video you see we put out until the start of the season. This is going to be a group effort, guys. I'm doing my part. We're doing 4 live stream drafts every single night. We're putting out a video every single morning. I'm doing my part. I'm doing everything I can. The ball's in your court. Now we have Deebo Samuel, Saquon Barkley, Mark Andrews, Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones making it to 21. That is some crazy value there with Aaron Jones at 21. Usually you see Aaron Jones at 16, 17, 18. And what's also really cool is getting him paired up with Jefferson. They do have that week 17 matchup, so you can make it to that week 17 championship game. You obviously do get that correlation in there. I'm not reaching for that week 17 correlation, but when it falls to you like that, you can at least get excited. Yeah, Mike Evans going at 22. I was getting excited about 3 or 4 days ago when we started getting Cooper Kupp and Mike Evans on the same team together. Y'all know we do these live streams all day, even off the live. So we do these drafts all day, even off the live stream. So like I'll be at the gym, I'll get a Cooper Kupp and a Mike Evans start, and I'll be like, oh my God, I'm the only team who's had this. Now I've realized that this is just where Mike Evans goes. Mike Evans last until the very end of the second round, nonstop now. We have Nick Chubb, 25, Javonte Williams, 24. So it looks like that team from the 101 going with a little bit of a hyper-fragile build here through the first 3 rounds. Now, they don't have an experience badge next to their name. This doesn't mean they're a bad drafter, but it does open up the possibility that they're a crazy drafter. And that sometimes you get in these drafts where a team just goes through and they take 5, 6 running backs through the first 6 rounds. And you're like, dear God, my friend, you clearly don't know what's going on here. You're just donating your money to the league pot. Thank you. And you really got to hope in those crazy drafts you ended up going with a couple running backs early, because then the rest of the way they will slide up draft boards. So we do need to be on the lookout to see what that team at the 101 continues to do. Okay, so let's go through, make sure I didn't miss out on anything. Okay, so Kyle Pitts goes 32. So speaking of DJ Moore, wide receiver that we can be very excited about. If Sutton makes it back to us in the 4th, guys, I'll throw in the towel. I'll take Courtland Sutton in the 4th round. Now that we have no Tim Patrick in Denver, if Sutton comes back around to us pick 40, I'll throw in that towel. You'll see us in the first draft ever take Courtland Sutton. Unsure how likely it is, but we definitely did not build this brand by taking Courtland Sutton over DJ Moore. No, we did not. No, we did not. Eric says, Debo was wide receiver 2 last year and now goes in the 2nd round. Okay, couple things. Debo Samuel was the wide receiver 3 on a points per game basis, not the wide receiver 2. But with Debo Samuel, the main reason he's falling to the 2nd round, and I'm not jumping up and down screaming, oh my gosh, you're getting a 26-year-old wide receiver that was a top 3 guy last year in the 2nd round this year. Smash that button every single time. Is because if you are looking at Debo Samuel, he had 8 rushing touchdowns last year. Now, I know Debo Samuel's a unicorn. I know that he is an extreme outlier. But still, at the same time, realistically speaking, that's... Guys. Oh, dear God. The screen just went black. I don't know what's going on. Oh crap. Oh, we ended up with Courtland Sutton. Oh dear God. Crap, guys. Oh my gosh. What just happened? What just happened here? Oh, that was like I think maybe there's a lightning storm. Maybe they hit the top of the apartment complex. Oh, this team's ruined. Oh, that's about the craziest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, let's just move on. What do y'all think? LOLG says, Mason, I'm disappointed. Got to go with Jerry Jeudy. Yeah, I still stand by. If you check out my rankings, I currently do have Jerry Jeudy. I believe, let me go through and look at this. I believe wide receiver 18. We have Courtland Sutton wide receiver 19. Yeah, 18 and 19. But the thing is, Courtland Sutton goes the end of round 3. Jerry Jeudy goes the end of round 4. We're going to be able to get Jerry Jeudy at a better price point. But Broncos fan says, I knew you would come into the dark side. Guys, hear me out. I would have drafted a total of 0 Courtland Sutton if Tim Patrick did not get injured. If Tim Patrick did not get injured, all of you fools drafting Courtland Sutton in the 3rd round, it would have not... You would have been in a world of pain, ladies and gentlemen. A world of pain. But now that Patrick's gone, Sutton pick 40 is not horrible. Hell, I have Courtland Sutton wide receiver 19. How many wide receivers went off the board? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I have Courtland Sutton ranked as wide receiver 19. We take him here as wide receiver 20. Okay, Mahomes goes 48. So that team at the 1 spot looks like they know what they're doing. They're not necessarily just going through drafting a running back in every single round. Very interesting that Travis Etienne makes it all the way to pick 45. I have noticed Travis Etienne falling to some of these drafts in the late 4th round now. It used to never happen. You have Kittle going 52. Godwin going 53. Brewer Man says, how do you like Gabriel Davis round 4? My man, I hate Gabriel Davis round 4. Hate Gabriel Davis round 4. Like, Gabriel Davis goes before Deontay Johnson here on Underdog. What? Deontay Johnson was the wide receiver 7 last year. Deontay Johnson was drafted in 2019. What are we talking about? Okay. So Ming Yao on the clock. They go Michael Thomas. So we're just going to get one of Cooks or Metcalf. I mean, I'm not necessarily panicking to grab a running back here. There's a running back that I would potentially love to make it to us on the way back around. Let's see what we get. Kyler Murray goes pick 58. Okay. Adam E says, Mason, let's hear you say Broncos country. Let's ride. You have to after the last pick. I need to find a way to rip that Russell Wilson audio. I'm not good at live streaming. I do it a lot, but I'm still not good at it. If we could go through and have that Broncos country, let's ride. If we can have that going after every single Denver Broncos pick, that'd be pretty badass. We need to start figuring out how to get little sounds on the live stream like that. Okay. So we have Jalen Hurts going 61, Joe Burrow going 62. These wide receivers, I mean, these quarterbacks sliding up draft boards. This is how I plan. I don't want to speak too early. Let's see what TP the Kid does. He took 3 running backs through the first 3 rounds. He goes Darnell Mooney. I was planning on grabbing Dobbins here. Like, guys, I cannot stop drafting. Trust me, I cannot stop drafting J.K. Dobbins in round 6. But when you get David Montgomery falling to you round 6, you go ahead. You take David Montgomery. Like, David Montgomery was a mid running back 1 2 years ago. David Montgomery still on his rookie contract, drafted in 2019. This is not, historically speaking, a typical dead zone running back. This is a fantastic, and I repeat, a fantastic running back value here in round 6. On Underdog Fantasy, you see guys like Montgomery. You see a J.K. Dobbins fall here consistently. And you just have to take advantage. Like, it's really hard for me to go ahead and start drafting wide receivers like Amon-Ra St. Brown and Elijah Moore over someone like David Montgomery. Okay. So let's scroll this down. Okay, I see Justin spamming in the chat that he asked the $5 super chat. I'm sorry, my man. I did not see it. Trying my best here, big fella. Trying my best. I apologize. But now, Elijah Mitchell, 66. Dobbins, 67. Jacob, 68. That's usually the tier guys that we go for because usually Montgomery goes before the elite level quarterbacks and Kyler Murray and Jalen Hurts. But regardless, it is what it is. We'll find out what we are getting on the way back around in the 7th round. If we're looking at quarterbacks, we have a lot of guys we can go with. I mean, we could go with a Mr. Russell Wilson. We could go with Dak Prescott. We could possibly go with the Justin Fields about 4 rounds from now. So I think we're set up in a really good spot. Devonta Smith off the board, 72. Smith has been a wide receiver that it's not like I have a super large chunk of him with our exposures. But y'all know I do just $5 drafts nonstop on Underdog Fantasy. Like every time they have a puppy draft available, that's what I'm doing. I'm entering the $5 drafts nonstop. I've done one $500 draft and I've done one $1,000 draft. And if you just do some quick math, a $1,000 draft is equivalent to 200 puppy drafts. So like your exposures are going to get so thrown off. And let me just double check this and confirm. But I believe I've taken Devonta Smith in both our $1,000 and $500 draft. Yeah, so I just pulled this up. I took Devonta Smith, pick 73 in our $1,000 draft, and I know I took him in the $500 draft. So I have so much riding in on Smith this year. Even though I haven't taken him in a ton of leagues, I've taken him in pretty much every single league that matters. Okay. Now, Tom Brady goes 75. Trey Lance goes 76. We had a crazy draft earlier with Lance falling to us way too far. Moss D says, Mason, why can I not draft from Underdog from Mexico? I'm sorry. Underdog's like completely regulated. It's like DFS. So it's going to be a state-by-state thing in the United States. I think Louisiana can't draft. Nevada can't draft. Washington can't draft. Michigan can't draft. Hawaii can't draft. And maybe like Montana, like one of the really small states. So like there are like 5 or 6 states that can't draft underdog in the US. Ontario can't do underdog. I think Ontario has like their own little sports betting / DFS site that they can only have. I don't freaking know. This is what someone has explained to me in the live chat. And I know underdog is not in Europe. It's not in Australia. It's not in Mexico. It's not like one of those freaking crypto casino unregulated things. No, underdog's completely regulated. Pollard at pick 80. Let's read the report on Tony. You hate reading this on Kadarius Toney. Tony being limited at all after last season is not a great sign. And some of those just truly special athletes are always dealing with those nagging injuries. Tony may just be that. I don't want to put it on the man, but maybe New York just has a curse with all the actual talented players they bring in, like a Kadarius Toney, like a Saquon Barkley. But Tony here at pick 81, if we are just walking through the range of outcomes based on his yards per route run his rookie season, like Tony does have the upside to be a league winner. I don't love him when he's going at the beginning of round 7. Like I've seen people take Tony before someone like Devonta Smith. I definitely think you can't do that. But here at pick 81, I'm not going to be jumping up and down to make this selection, but it is a pick that I will make. Russell Wilson would have been the selection if he would have fallen. Now let's see what happens here at pick 88. There are 2 things I'm going to go with. Okay, I was going to say, if Antonio Gibson went off the board, we are going to go ahead. We are going to take Clyde Edwards-Helaire. If we had anybody else, we probably have to take Antonio Gibson. 100%, guys. 100%. Antonio Gibson has red flags. He may be in a touch squeeze in a very bad NFL offense. And you can have 1 or 2 things in fantasy football to be an effective player. You can have raw volume overcoming a poor offense, or you can have a great offense leading to increased efficiency across the board, specifically with the touchdown rate of a given player. And with Antonio Gibson, we can confidently say that he is going to be in a bad offense this upcoming season. I don't think that Washington is ever going to be a top 10 offense with this iteration of Carson Wentz. And at the same time, they bring in J.D. McKissic in free agency. I mean, they re-signed McKissic when the Buffalo Bills tried to bring him in free agency. And they draft Brian Robinson in the 3rd round of this year's NFL draft. There's a real touch squeeze that can potentially be on Antonio Gibson. But at the same time, if we're going to be fair, there's an extremely large range of outcomes. And at the top end of said range of outcomes, Antonio Gibson may develop into an elite level talent. If you look at Antonio Gibson's size adjusted athleticism, this is a running back that was truly special coming into the NFL draft. Like he comped to literally Jonathan Taylor in that same draft class. If you're going to be looking at his numbers specifically at the combine, which we have proven directly correlate to fantasy football success, not at receiver, but at running back, they do. And we can spin a little story here saying, well, with Antonio Gibson, maybe it makes sense for the player that transitions to the running back position in the NFL to take a couple years to put it together. He's been the running back 19 on a per game basis over the past 2 years. We're getting him in the 8th round. It's a pick that has risk, but it's a pick that also has upside. And that's what I'm looking for in fantasy football. Tommy coming out in the chats has posted this in locals, but I felt like it was perfect for here. At the 405, who is the best running back to take as our running back 1? Cam Akers, Ezekiel Elliott, Breece Hall, or Travis Etienne. Full PPR format, I'm going to go with Travis Etienne. I'm going to try to bank on him being that next DeAndre Swift, something we've been talking about for 2 years now, and that he can be a running back that gets every target out of the backfield. He can potentially, I was a lot more excited about this before James Robinson avoided the PUP. He can be a running back that also gets every single touch in the red zone, which is a dream from a fantasy football perspective. That's a full PPR format. If it's not going to be a full PPR, like if it's non-PPR, there we probably lean with Ezekiel Elliott, but it is going to be dependent to your format, as we already said. Walter coming out, long time no see, my friend, says, how do you feel about an Eckler, Allen, and Justin Herbert stack? I like it if you don't reach on Keenan Allen in the 2nd round. If you have Keenan Allen make it back to you in the 3rd round, then 100%. Don't get so excited about the stack, though, that you're like, okay, I'm going into the draft. I 100% want this stack. Let's go Eckler in the 1st. Let's grab Keenan Allen in the second, and let's take Herbert in the third. No. Let's cool the brakes. Let's go Eckler in the first, Keenan in the third, and then Herbert in the fourth if you really want the stack. Now, Tyler Boyd goes pick 201. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. But if Dak Prescott falls here, ladies and gentlemen, this will be a beautiful draft. We have CeeDee Lamb here. Getting that Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb stack would be fantastic. Derek took Pollard. Would he take Dak on a Pollard build? I don't know. We'll find out. Dallas Goedert off the board, 102. Goddard would have been the other player that I was going to look at. Goddard, I think, does break the mold of the other tight ends in this range, like a Dawson Knox, like a Zach Ertz, because if you look at Goddard's efficiency in his splits with and without Zach Ertz through his NFL career, like I do think that Dallas Goedert has in the range of outcomes to be a top 3 tight end overall. Like I do think Goddard has in the range of outcomes to turn into like freaking, oh my, Derek, do you have to do that to us? What am I supposed to do now? Let's think through this. I'm not taking Damian Harris. Like, how am I supposed to take Damian Harris here? I don't want to talk about it. I truly don't. I don't like Damian Harris. I've never liked Damian Harris as a running back that cannot catch a ball to save his life. But let me know, who do you go? GA says Dawson Knox or Zach Ertz. I'm never taking Dawson Knox or Zach Ertz here. Like, the only way I take one of these guys is if I have Josh Allen, if I have Kyler Murray. In that scenario, then sure, I'll take him. And Derek says Tolbert went before Dak. Yeah, that Jalen Tolbert selection, one of the worst picks in this draft, if not the worst pick in this draft. Like, I'm legitimately never, and I repeat, ever going to be drafting Jalen Tolbert if all of a sudden he's a player going in round 9. Like, that's ludicrous. Now, Kenneth Walker, Melvin Gordon directly after us. Probably good. I mean, we have Derrick Henry, David Montgomery, Antonio Gibson, Damian Harris here. So it's not like we're dying to have another running back on the way back around. Now, I'm worried. What are we going to get? What are y'all doing to us? Let's see. Ink 69 steady on the clock. They only have 3 wide receivers. I'm assuming they go with the receiver here. They took Melvin Gordon in the last round. They go Julio Jones. Julio Jones before Russell Gage. I think that's the first time I've seen that this offseason. Mr. Seth says, are we going to get in another draft? Because I'm trying to get in one. How about this, guys? We've had almost 4,000 views on the live stream. Let's get this draft to 700 likes. Very reasonable. We have almost 900 people watching this. If this live stream gets to 700 likes, we'll fire up another draft after this one. If you haven't dropped a like in the live stream yet, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? Fix your life. We're the only person out here live streaming this often, doing 4 drafts pretty much every night, getting y'all videos every single day, trying my best out here. Russell Gage isn't someone that I love, but pick 112 is pick 112. Let's go ahead. Let's take Gage. We're getting him after Julio Jones based on the $30 million contract. I do want to stand by the fact that I think Russell Gage is the wide receiver 3 here in Tampa. Of course, Julio Jones hurts Russell Gage in his range of outcomes. But at the same time, if I'm looking at Chase Claypool, I'm not going to be that surprised. Now, it will be somewhat surprising, but I think it's in the range of outcomes for George Pickens to come out and be the wide receiver 2 there in Tampa. I'm sorry, in Pittsburgh. And on the contrary, in Tampa, with Russell Gage, he is going to be playing in an offense that has just significantly more passing volume to go around. Like, you can see that passing breakdown between a Chris Godwin, a Mike Evans, and a Russell Gage supporting all 3 options, especially if all players that are either older or coming off an injury in Julio Jones, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin, if one of those guys were to go down, all of a sudden Russell Gage could become a top 24 receiver in fantasy. MCP TV says, oh man, you couldn't have just let Russell Gage slide down a few more picks to me. Where were you? I'm assuming you took Brady. Were you wanting Russell Gage there at pick 118? Let me know if that's where you're at. Okay, so Damian Pierce goes off the board 116. Pierce has definitely been rising. I mean, you are getting training camp reports coming out of Houston saying that Damian Pierce looks like he's locked in to be being the starting running back there. That's not that big of a surprise. His competition is the combination of Marlon Mack and Phillip Lindsay. I mean, this is legitimately probably the easiest running back room in the entire NFL to climb up top of. Okay, Justin says, when does stacking become too much, etc.? Gesicki, Tua, Waddle, and Jackson with Bateman. Okay, if you're stacking multiple different offenses, that's completely fine. I would say where I am almost drawing the line is if we're looking at our double stacks with a singular quarterback and saying, I'm taking more than two of his pass catchers or two of his pass catchers and a running back inside the top 10 rounds. Like, I think you can go through and you can get a triple stack as long as one of those guys is at the very end of your draft and you're just trying to find 1 to 2 spike weeks from them. But I love stacking. I love correlating, but I agree that there is a tipping point specifically in these formats where I think if you're, say, going with, here's a perfect example, that Los Angeles Chargers stack we were talking about at the very beginning. If you take Eckler round 1, then you take Keenan Allen round 3, then Justin Herbert round 4. All of a sudden, Joshua Palmer in round 11 to me becomes a lot less intriguing because for Keenan Allen to truly become a league-winning player, for Austin Eckler to truly become a league-winning player, how many other hyper-productive options in this offense can there actually be? So I'm personally, if we're taking, say, 2 top options in an offense, not including the quarterback position, inside like the top 5 rounds. After that, I'm probably not looking to add anybody unless it's at the very end of the draft. Okay, so Irv Smith Jr. goes pick 125. It wasn't dying to get Irv Smith Jr. We have Naheem Hines 126. Is this another Galladay team? Hopefully not. Ming Yao on the clock. They have 3 running backs. Do they go ahead? Do they take Alexander Madison? They go Jahan Dotson, so wide receivers are going. I wonder if Derek decides to take Gallup here. Derek, don't be surprised if I take Gallup in round 12. Please don't be surprised. I'm giving you a fair warning now. He goes Gallup. Okay. I would have taken Gallup in round 12, to be completely honest. But now we're going to go with Justin Fields. I do want to have access to a quarterback that should have an elite level ceiling from a week-to-week standpoint. Y'all know I've been Justin Fields' #1 critique for God knows how long now. I used to be fighting the trolls that were trying to tell me that Justin Fields was a better draft pick in Dynasty than Trey Lance. I mean, I fought that good battle for a very long time. But at this point, Justin Fields is a strong value in that you are looking at a quarterback that could be a great rushing option. He could be a poor man's Jalen Hurts, where even if he's not great from an NFL standpoint, even if the Chicago Bears fail with a horrendous receiving core and no offensive line, hell, if Justin Fields can get to 40 rushing yards a game, it may not necessarily matter. And also we have David Montgomery. That's not the biggest thing in the world. I will say David Montgomery does correlate with our quarterback, I think, in that he will see some usage in the receiving game. I know everybody's on Keel Herbert, yada, yada, yada. No, it's David Montgomery's job. Okay, so we have Kenneth Gainwell going 132. Christian Watson 131. Love that Christian Watson value. Like, I still can't believe he's going 55 picks behind Allen Lazard. If Christian Watson somehow becomes the wide receiver 1 in Green Bay this year, guys, we're going to be printing. Like, literally, it's like I'll have a money printer in our apartment if Christian Watson somehow becomes the wide receiver 1 in Green Bay. Tsunami says, Tsunami, I don't know why I can't read, says, thoughts on rookie wide receiver Velus Jones in best ball. 18th round pick, can't be horrible when you have Justin Fields. Maybe we go ahead and we look at him. He's a 25-year-old rookie. We've never seen a rookie at that age break out at the wide receiver position. It just hasn't happened before. He goes in the 2nd round of the NFL draft just because, and I repeat, just because his speed, so he can stretch, hopefully he can stretch NFL defenses, make safeties and defensive coordinators adjust, possibly draw some coverage away from Darnell Mooney. That's the entire reason they decided to make that draft pick, and also make life a little bit easier on David Montgomery so teams couldn't just stack the box over and over and over again. He'll never be a wide receiver that commands a lot of volume. So in your regular redraft format, if you're playing in a casual redraft league, for the love of God, please do not go and draft a Velus Jones Jr. Like, it's a wasted pick. Even in Dynasty, I feel like it's a wasted pick. Best ball is the only spot it would make sense. Okay. Real quick, we just passed 600 likes on the stream. Thank y'all so much, guys. If we hit 700 likes on the live stream, we are going to fire up another draft after this. If you are wanting to get in our next draft, we do this every single night. Just go to the link in the live chat. Go to the link in the description of the video. Go to the link in the comment section. You can find it anywhere. And go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK when you sign up. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. You'll get our 2022 rankings, our 2022 fantasy football draft guide with legitimately just a $10 deposit. Of course, you'll be supporting this channel. And more importantly, you can have some fun with us drafting here on the live stream, which we do every single night. But Cole Kmet, pick 136. Don't like the value at all. Like, it pains me to take Cole Kmet here above Alexander Mattison, above Devontae Parker. But Kmet does have an ADP in the early 120s. The only reason I'm taking him here at pick 136, despite me thinking that tight ends later on in this draft are going to be very similar to Cole Kmet, is the fact that we took Justin Fields. Like, if we get Justin Fields at pick 129, let's bring in Cole Kmet. Let's get some correlation here in Chicago, even if I think a Devontae Parker or an Alexander Mattison are a better value overall. Okay, so Jameson Williams goes 146. Please, I don't even know what we're wanting on the way back around. I mean, so far in this draft, I feel like we are relatively balanced. Justin Fields at quarterback, Cole Kmet for the stack at tight end. At running back, we have Derrick Henry, David Montgomery, Antonio Gibson, Damian Harris. Oh, damn. I can't believe I said that was our running back core out loud. But then at wide receiver, we have CeeDee Lamb, DJ Moore, Cortland Sutton, DK Metcalf, Kadarius Toney, and Russell Gage. I don't like the draft, but how can you like the draft if you took Cortland Sutton, realistically speaking? Derek coming out says, let's hit that like button and subscribe. Also, hit that bell for notifications on. Yes, sir. Of course, Derek, thank you for coming out here every single night drafting with us. Would not be an Underdog live stream if we were not 1 to 2 picks away from Derek. Literally, something's up with the algorithm over here at Underdog, putting us next to each other every single time. And yeah, if y'all want to be able to come out to the live stream like at the very beginning, I think this goes without being said, but if you hit the bell next to the subscribe button, you will be notified when we're actually live, so you can come to the live stream, and it's not like you just randomly go on YouTube and like, oh crap, Mason's live already. Okay, all these wide receivers are off the board. You have Romeo oh dear God. Oh my gosh. James Robinson off the board. Let's think through this. We're going to take Ronald Jones. I probably prefer Mike Gesicki in a vacuum over Rojo. But if we take Ronald Jones here, compared to the other running backs that are going to be available to us on the way back around, not going to be too excited about Herbert. I would have really liked Tyrion Davis-Price if we didn't get the reports coming out of San Francisco, making it sound like he's not the guy. So that's no longer interesting. And then the next player is Jamal Williams. None of those players, in my opinion, have access to the touchdown upside that we'd be looking for. So these tight ends in an Albert O, a Gerald Everett, a David Njoku, a Robert Tonyan, a Tyler Higbee, they are all relatively the same for us. So let's pass on the tight end position here with Gesicki. Let's grab the running back, knowing that we're going to get one of these tight ends that we like on the way back around. Ryan Robinson goes off the board 156. It's going to be great for us. Clearly, we don't need another running back once we take Ronald Jones. Charlie says, Will Fuller to Dallas, plus Will Fuller or Marvin Jones on the waiver wire. Okay. I would like the idea of Will Fuller to Dallas if it wasn't for the James Washington signing already. Maybe that just doesn't matter anymore because you have the James Washington injury. Like, I really like this question. I'm sitting here trying to think about it for a second. Realistically speaking, I think it would be a great landing spot. Like, y'all know I've drafted a ton of Will Fuller in best ball. Like, I have a ton of Will Fuller across our drafts. So I would really love to see it. I don't know how likely it is, but if you just go through and you just dream of Will Fuller landing spots, you have so many. Will Fuller to Dallas. We'll throw that one in there. Will Fuller to Buffalo. Will Fuller to Green Bay. Will Fuller to Cleveland if Watson's not suspended. Will Fuller to Baltimore. So many teams could use that elite field stretching wide receiver. I'm going to repeat this. I know we've said it a lot, but hell, it's something that is very surprising for the majority of people who really haven't looked into the Will Fuller profile. Will Fuller was a top 10 wide receiver in 2020. From a points per game standpoint, Will Fuller was a top 10 wide receiver. Will Fuller has finished inside the top 10 at his position more recently than either Christian McCaffrey or Saquon Barkley. Or Michael Thomas, for that matter. So, personally, I'm all in drafting Will Fuller. I do think he lands. It would have been really nice if he was the one to go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, of course, but it is what it is. Tsunami says Romeo Doubs or Amari Rodgers. Amari Rodgers, I think, at this point is dead, right? If y'all don't know, Amari Rodgers was a wide receiver out of Clemson last year. Goes in the 3rd round to the Green Bay Packers. Didn't really have a great profile coming out of college. It was a surprise pick. It was very similar to the Joshua Palmer pick in that draft, where not many people at all, at least from a dynasty fantasy football perspective, had that wide receiver in that range. They made the pick. Surprised everyone. I would say probably go Romeo Doubs, but at the same time, I'm still really going to go ahead. I am going to plan on just smashing Christian Watson at the discount every chance we get. And real quick, guys, we have 3 rounds left in this draft. And we are 60 likes away from firing up another draft after this one. So please go down there. Drop a like on this live stream. Let's get this up to 700 likes. Let's fire up another draft after this. Go to the link in the live chat. Go to the link in the description. Use promo code FLOCKS. Sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Prepare to get in our next drafts. Or a draft with us tomorrow night, or a draft with us the night after that, or a draft with us the night after that, yada, yada, yada. Y'all know we do this every single night. Okay, so let's scroll this down. Corey Davis goes. Let's see what Derek does. I knew he was doing it. I knew he was freaking doing it to us. Why? Why do you have to do that to us, my man? Why are you going to go ahead and take our quarterback there in Daniel Jones? We are desperate for Daniel Jones to come to this team. We had Kadarius Toney. We need some quarterback upside. Our only quarterback is Justin Fields. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Noah Fant. I think Noah Fant's the last tight end in this range. Until we see that tier drop off, we still need to draft 1 more wide receiver with this build. And at the same time, we need to draft 2 more quarterbacks. I don't exactly know who we're going to be looking at QB. If we are trying to find some correlation in here, maybe we can talk ourselves in to Tannehill. Maybe we can talk ourselves into Carson Wentz, Baker Mayfield. Not going to be looking at anybody in Seattle. I don't give a damn. So I guess it's Baker Mayfield, Carson Wentz, and Tannehill for us in terms of correlating picks. We could go Mac Jones here with the potential that we end up getting Kendrick Bourne or Tyquan Thornton on the way back around. So Mac Jones is definitely in play as well at the quarterback position if we were to want him. Okay, so people asking in the chat, how did the 101 team do with 3 running backs in a row? I will go through, I'll pull that up and check that out for y'all. We're going to take Marvin Jones or Mac Jones here. We're going to get one of the Joneses. If we get Mac Jones, we'll have to lock in Tyquan Thornton in the last round. But no, we're going to go Marvin Jones as our last wide receiver with this build, as our wide receiver 7. Let's go ahead. Let's look at Patty Goats. This was the team that took 3 running backs in a row to start this draft off. Jonathan Taylor, Javonte Williams, Nick Chubb. The 4-5 turn, I understand wanting to get the Juju and Mahomes correlation in there, but still, I feel like this is when stacking has gone a little bit too far. When we're reaching on a Juju Smith-Schuster and when we're taking Juju over other wide receivers like a Godwin or even like a George Kittle at the tight end position, a Cam Akers at running back. Like, I know you probably don't want to go with another running back there, but in my opinion, that pick is either Lamar and Kittle or Mahomes and Kittle. Then Devonta Smith at 72. Dalton Schultz goes at 73. Tyler Lockett, James Cook. So James Cook is their 4th running back here at 97. They decided to take James Cook over other running backs like Rashad Penny, Devin Singletary, Damian Harris, Kenneth Walker, Melvin Gordon. In terms of the wide receivers they take him ahead of, I'd say they don't reach on any receiver to take James Cook. Mecole Hardman, really like the Mecole Hardman pick on the Patrick Mahomes team, of course. Dawson Knox, 121. I do not like Dawson Knox at his ADP. Knox has an ADP of 104, but Dawson Knox here at pick 121 is a pretty strong value. I don't think you can complain with it. Alec Pierce, 169. Matt Ryan. I don't love the team. I like the idea of trying to get cute with it, trying to mix some things up there and go with a little bit of a hyper-fragile build. But overall, I don't know how it was executed. I'm just not a massive fan of that Juju pick, even though maybe I'm being hypocritical because I'm completely fine taking all the other Chiefs. But guys, we are about to hit 700 likes in the stream. If you have not done so already, go down there, drop that like so we hit 700. We fire up another draft after this one. Okay, so TP the Kid asking us to check out his team at pick 10. Let's do this quickly before we're back up on the clock, as we have to take 2 more quarterbacks. Never mind, we can't get Tyquan Thornton. We're just going to queue up 2 quarterbacks. We had 700 likes. Let's check out TP the Kid, then we'll go into our next draft. Dalvin, Najee, love that start. Dalvin Cook and Najee Harris on the same team is a cheat code. James Conner, Hollywood, then Kyler Murray, getting the double stack there with the Arizona Cardinals. Love that. Darnell Mooney, Christian Kirk, Treylon Burks. Kenneth Walker at 106. I would say if I'm looking at the combination, say of like Kenneth Walker versus Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Antonio Gibson, and then Treylon Burks versus Garrett Wilson, I probably prefer taking one of these running backs with Antonio Gibson or Clyde Edwards-Helaire over Treylon Burks and take Garrett Wilson over Kenneth Walker a little bit later on. Cousins 111. I'm not a massive fan of it. I mean, you do have real quick. Oh crap. We got to make our pick. Baker Mayfield, we're going to get that pick to pair up with DJ Moore. And then we're going to go ahead. We are just going to fire up our next draft here. I'll have to finish out that other draft on my phone. We're just going to add in one more quarterback to our team. We are now in this draft. There were 10 spots open. So if you were wanting to draft with us, you probably got in here. This is, oh my gosh, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not excited about this. I think we are drafting with only members of the flock. And at the same time, we get one of the worst picks to have. Oh, this is going to be really tough, guys. Guys, this is going to be a brutal, brutal draft. We have Jimmy's as a part of the flock. Ashawn, I believe, is a part of the flock. FSU for Cole is a part of the flock. Doc79 is a part of the flock. Renegade's a part of the flock. We have not seen them out here in a while. This team at 1, Prince, they were in our last draft. Maybe they're a new member of the flock that I haven't burned their name into my memory yet. Yeah, Nate says, let's go pick 1. Okay, so he is in here, a part of the flock. That's what I thought. Oh, this is going to be tough. This is going to be a tough one. Alex says he's part of the flock. Okay, let me see if you're in this draft. Let me know what you're picking at. If you are in this draft right now, please let me know in the live chat exactly what your pick is. That way I can start putting names to faces here. Help me out. Help me put some names to faces. Okay, sorry. I'm looking at our other draft right now, trying to figure out where we want to go. Okay, God, I'm just going to close my eyes and make that pick. I hated that last team. Cup goes at 3. Interesting. Very rarely you're seeing Cup over Jefferson now, but it is what it is. Dylan says he has Zach Links in his draft. Have not been able to hop in a draft with Zach in quite some time. Hopefully we get him in the next one. Steven, longtime member of the flock, did not recognize your underdog name. Says, yo, big Punisher here. Oh, I'm not excited to go against Steven. This is probably going to be pretty tough. Jimmy says he's at 12. Thomas says he's at the 111. Oh. Dalvin off the board. Usually I'm taking Diggs. Let's try to balance our exposure some. Let's take Eckler at pick 7. We'll see how this goes. Eckler is my running back 3. I think you are going to get some serious touchdown regression. I think that the tier 2 of running backs with Eckler, Mixon, Dalvin, Najee, Derrick Henry, they're all the same to me. They're all the same. So usually I'm not drafting these guys at the very top. Usually I'm preferring the elite level quarterbacks and then just getting one of those other running backs on the way back around in the second round. But let's mix up our exposures. I mean, I don't want to go into the season with no Austin Eckler when he is my running back 3, getting him here at pick 7. The guy I would have gone with if we didn't take Eckler, the guy I thought we were going to get in this draft, Stephon Diggs, goes directly after at pick 8. Guys, we are closing in on 1,000 likes in the live stream. Dear God. NTB says, do you really think Kupp over Justin Jefferson is a surprise? I would say, realistically speaking, I have probably gotten into 15 underdog drafts today. And I would say I probably have seen 10 of them where Jefferson went before Kupp. And are probably about 5 of those. I also saw Chase go before Kupp. I was able to draft Cooper Kupp at the 105 in a draft earlier today on Underdog. Nick Chubb and Alvin Kamara go off the board. I believe that's Thomas in the live chat. He takes him pick 11 and pick 14. Crazy, my man. Christian says, what's up, Mason? Big fan. You've got me hooked on Underdog now. Have a 10-team dynasty startup draft tomorrow. 2 quarterback, 2 flex PPR, Jefferson or Kyle Pitts, or should I shoot for Lamar or Kyler Murray? Okay, I would say in a 10-team dynasty format, even if it's super flex, you're going to be devaluing the quarterback position just based on the supply and demand of the position compared to a 12-team super flex league. I still would lean with the elite level quarterback in Kyler Murray. If it's a tight end premium league, because you only have to start... Oh, I'm sorry to cut off, my man. We are getting Austin Eckler and Najee Harris on the same team. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, guys. I do not know if I've ever seen this happen before. This is going to be a fantastic draft. Oh, I'm excited. But Christian, going back to what I was saying, because you only have 2 flexes in that 10-team league, wide receiver depth is not going to be hard to come by whatsoever, even in a dynasty format. In a tight end premium league, if you're getting 1.5 points per reception for the tight end position, I would actually be fine going Pitts over any wide receiver. But, guys, stay tuned. You cannot leave this draft. You have to see how I managed to mess this up. You know, if you've been watching these live streams long enough, y'all know we live stream real money drafts every single night. Y'all know I will find a way. I don't know how I'm going to mess this up yet, but we're going to panic. We're going to do something stupid. And you need to stick around for the entertainment of it so you can sit here and you can laugh at me. Yet again, we have an Aaron Jones, Justin Jefferson start happen. I mean, that happened at the last draft of the 104. That is very exciting to see. Odier says this is going to be a good one. Mason, don't mess it up. I'll try not to, my man. I'm going to try not to. Okay, just for you. I'm going to try not to mess this up. And also for my bank account, I'm going to try not to mess this up. But let's see. We are 5 picks away. Let's think through this. Obviously, we would like a wide receiver value making it back to us. If we're looking at, say, Kyle Pitts here, I'm not going to just look over Pitts. Y'all know that's a guy that I really like this season. Okay, A.J. Brown goes 126. Josh Allen, 27. Josh Allen wouldn't have been in play for me at pick 31, considering the fact that we did not take Josh Allen's top receiver and Stephon Diggs in the first round. Keenan Allen goes 29. Okay, guys. This is how I have them ranked. However, A, I think we need to be worried about getting boxed out of the wide receiver position. B, we will get correlation with the Los Angeles Chargers offense and Austin Eckler. Everybody in the chat saying Pitts. Everybody in the chat saying Pitts. Don't overthink it. I'm going to listen to y'all. I agree. I think Kyle Pitts is a significantly better actual pick than Mike Williams in a vacuum. I was just thinking Mike Williams because we had Eckler, and at the same time, because we faded wide receiver through the first 2 rounds. So let's see what happens. Let's see. But everybody in the chat was saying Pitts. And real quick, if you are new to this live stream, make sure you go down there, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell next to the subscribe button. If we hit 90,000 subscribers before the season starts, we will go ahead. We will fire up Yes, you're hearing this right. A 24-hour live stream draft marathon. I don't know how I'll do it. I'll probably take 30 servings of pre-workout through a 24-hour period to stay awake and to be able to continue doing these drafts. But regardless, we draft every single night. So if you want to draft with us, subscribe, go to the link in the live chat, go to the link in the description of the live stream. Click it, go over to Underdog Fantasy, sign up for Underdog Fantasy, use promo code FLOCK when you sign up for Underdog. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to 100. You'll get our 2022 rankings. You'll get our 2022 fantasy football draft guide with literally just a $10 deposit, and they're going to match that deposit. So you're essentially getting paid to play fantasy football, and it's free. Underdog knows you're going to love these drafts and you're going to be addicted like I am. I can't get out of these drafts. This is all I do at this point in my life. But Jalen Waddle goes pick 35. James Conner makes it a pick 36. At this point, we want a wide receiver making it back to us in the 4th. I'm assuming we're going to be looking at someone like a Deontay Johnson now that Hollywood Brown's off the board. But if Travis Etienne's there, ooh, God, we may be making a 0 wide receiver team. Odier says we're about to hit 1,000 viewers. Holy crap, we are about to hit 1,000 viewers. I know I've said this 10 times, but guys, we have never hit 1,000 viewers on a live stream. If you want to help us hit 1,000 viewers, drop that like. Drop that like. That's what's going to help us get to 90,000 subs and possibly 1,000 people watching this freaking live stream. Guys, this is maybe how I ruin this team. If we get Travis Etienne making it to us at pick 42, this is how this team goes downhill. We just fade the wide receiver position and we get burnt to a crisp. I told y'all we would find a way to ruin it. Give me your breads on the clock. What have they done so far? They've gone Barkley, Diggs, Mike Williams. Guys, this is... I don't know why I'm so stressed out. I just don't... Oh, God. I can't talk about it. I don't want to look at it. Yeah, okay. It's still there. We did take Travis Etienne. We're 0 wide receivers through the first 4 rounds in a league where you have to start 3 receivers. You have to start 3 wide receivers every single week here. And we have a total of 0 of them. Now, at the same time, how many freaking teams are going to have this start? How many teams are going to have this start? Austin Eckler, Najee Harris, Travis Etienne at running back. Having the elite level tight end in Kyle Pitts. It's a hyper fragile build. I am very excited about it. Looks like a lot of people wanted us to go Justin Herbert. Guys, if you wanted me to go Justin Herbert, I told you I would have done it. But I had to take Mike Williams in round 3 if we were going to go Justin Herbert. That's why I was saying, okay, I know I love Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is way better of a pick than Mike Williams. But we took Austin Eckler. Do we want to go Justin Herbert in round 4? If we want to go Justin Herbert in round 4, we have to go Mike Williams in round 3. Y'all told me no. You told me Kyle Pitts. You did this. You did this. All right. I'm not taking responsibility unless this team wins the $200,000. Then you didn't help at all. It was all me. Okay. Now, Lamar Jackson goes 48. Cam Akers 49. Thank God. Please get these running backs off the board. Get these running backs off the board. Please. Please. Now, let's see what else happens. This team, I don't know how you pronounce this name. They took Bateman, pick 47. Why are you taking Bateman here? I'm desperate for a wide receiver at this point. I don't even know if I take Rashad Bateman in the middle of the 5th. They go Jalen Hurts. Oh, I hate that. I understand you want to get Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown on the same roster, but still. Elijah Mitchell, 51. Guys, it's happening. It is coming together. Brandon Cooks, 52. Waller, 53. Oh my God. Give him to us. Give him to us, please, for the love of God. Ladies and gentlemen, Justin Herbert, round 5, pairing up with Eckler here. Y'all wanted him in round 4. We did not take him. Let's go. Still need a wide receiver. Oh, dear God. Bringing that in. Show me a team. Show me a team with more upside than this. You can't. I challenge you. It's not happening. It is not happening. There's not a single team in the puppy contest that has this kind of ceiling. Eckler, Najee, Etienne at running back. Pitts at tight end as the elite level tight end. Herbert as the elite level quarterback. Beautiful. It's like a chef created this team. Dear God, I'm getting chills. I cannot wait to see what this team looks like. And we are 20 viewers away from hitting 1,000 here as well. So if you have not done so already, guys, go down there, drop a like on this live stream, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell next to the sub button. We do these live streams every single night, real money fantasy football drafts. And we may hit a record here. This is crazy. This is crazy. Kyler Murray goes pick 60. Please, guys, take Montgomery, take J.K. Dobbins, save me from myself. Darnell Mooney goes 62. FSU for Cole on the clock. Hopefully he just takes David Montgomery. I don't know if we could even go David Montgomery if he falls. I know David Montgomery here at pick 66 would be like the craziest value of all time. But still. Amon-Ra St. Brown goes 63. Montgomery, thank God. Oh, thank you for saving me from myself. Elijah Moore off. You know what, guys? Let me sit here. Let's calm down. The adrenaline's pumping too hard. The adrenaline's pumping too hard. Let's calm down. Let's calm down. Let's calm down. I love me some J.K. Dobbins. I don't know if I can do it, though. Y'all don't know how much I love this value of J.K. Dobbins. I want to do it. I truly do. But this team already has enough upside. This team's already unique enough. We don't need to try to get cute. At some point, we have to draft a wide receiver here. At some point, we have to take someone. Let's go with Amari Cooper. If we're looking for the elite level ceiling in weeks 15, 16, and 17, hell, I mean, if you have Amari Cooper making it back to you in that tournament style contest during that time period, hell, Watson may be his quarterback. He may have the best quarterback play of his entire NFL career in weeks 15, 16, and 17. And at the same time, the fewest competition for targets. Because remember, back in Oakland, he had to go up against Michael Crabtree. In Dallas, he had to go up against Michael Gallup. And then he had to go up against CeeDee Lamb. Like, Amari may be in the best situation of his career. Still surprisingly young. Yes, drafted in 2015, but drafted at 20 years old. Started his rookie season at 20 years old. So the man's only 28 at this time. Okay. So, guys, we are 10 viewers away from hitting 1,000. We are 10 viewers away from hitting 1,000. So please, for the love of God, if you're ever going to go down there and drop a like in this live stream, it's now. Now or never, ladies and gentlemen. Trey Lance off the board. We are going to get a wide receiver making it back to us. Not taking Schultz here. I'm not doing it. F it. I don't. Actually. Yeah, we're going to get either Adam Thielen or DeAndre Hopkins. Perfect for us. We don't need an elite level quarterback. Fine. Take Lance. Take Russell Wilson. We already have Justin Herbert. We're chilling. We're good. Let's just see who we get between Adam Thielen and DeAndre Hopkins. I'm not going to cry one way or another. Hunt goes. Perfect for us. Give me Adam Thielen. Hell yes. Hell freaking yes. Oh, this is beautiful. Running back 1, Eckler. Running back 2, Najee Harris. Running back 3, Travis Etienne. The elite level tight end. The elite level quarterback that is stacked up with Austin Eckler. Amari Cooper and Adam Thielen holding down the fort at wide receiver. Not the best receiver core ever. But considering that we waited until round 6 to take our first guy, it's going to be pretty good. I think we can get some value on the way back around as well. Okay. Odier says, Mason, are you posting this as a video? Maybe we will post this as a video. Let me know if y'all want us to post this as a video. Let me know if it would be intriguing. Maybe we can have Thomas edit it up and Make it pretty fun. Okay. Clyde Rizalaire, Tony Pollard, both off the board. I'm sorry, guys. I'm calming down. We just came off the biggest high of all time. Oh, dear God. Oh, this is why you're subscribed to the channel. This is why you hang out with us in the live streams every night, because you can say you watch this live. This is the team that wins it all. I've never been so confident about anything. This is the team that wins the $200,000, and you get to say you watched it live. Of course, probably not, but we can dream. Let a man dream. Let a man live a little. Okay. So at this point, I don't exactly know what we are hoping for. I mean, you have Dak Prescott going off the board, pick 87. We weren't dying to take Dak Prescott. I'm definitely not taking Tom Brady here. There's no way in hell I'm taking Tom Brady at pick 90 on a team that we already have Herbert. I don't have Evans. I don't have Godwin. There's no reason for me to take Tom Brady. Maybe if we didn't have Justin Herbert, we could talk about it. But Ashawn on the clock. This team's been pretty strong so far, if we're going to be honest. They've been taking some really strong values. They got Hopkins at 81. They got Kittle 57. David Montgomery 64. They go Hunter Renfrow. Give me your bread on the clock. This is the team that, let us have that value, making it back to us. Who did they take earlier? Yeah, in the 4th round, they took Gabriel Davis, giving us Travis Etienne. And in this round, they take Sky Moore, giving us Christian Kirk as our wide receiver 3, guys. This is coming together. I mean, now we are going to be definitely targeting Trevor Lawrence a little bit later on as our quarterback 2. I mean, we're looking at a build that is centered around this Jacksonville Jaguars offense. As gross as that sounds, obviously we have their version of DeAndre Swift here in Travis Etienne. We have their wide receiver 1 here as well in Christian Kirk. So Trevor Lawrence will have to be an above average NFL quarterback for this team to be any good, for this team to have the upside, to be the overall top winner in this tournament style contest. So you better believe we're going to be looking at Trevor Lawrence a little bit later on. We don't want to put him up in our queue, but it is what it is. And Darth coming out says, congrats on the crazy draft, 1,000 viewers and all the success lately. It's well deserved, loving the content. Thank you so much for the support, my man. I genuinely appreciate it. I genuinely appreciate every single person that comes out and hangs out with me in these live streams. Like, y'all don't know how much I look forward to these streams. Every time I get to about 5 p.m. in the day, I'm like, okay, can we start live streaming? Can we start live streaming it? And I have to make myself wait. But thank you for all of y'all. I truly cannot let you know how much I really do appreciate y'all. And John says, who should I take at the 3 spot, pick 70, when I went Christian McCaffrey, Javonte Williams, Josh Allen, Deontay Johnson, and George Kittle? Okay, so if we're going to go through and look at this build, I mean, let's try to figure out what exact players you would have available to you at pick 70. So if it's going to be, say, this exact draft board, and you already have CMC, Javonte Williams at running back, you have only Deontay Johnson at wide receiver, in my opinion, I think you would be very tempted to go ahead and to take a Drake London there at pick 70. But in reality, Josh Jacobs is just such a strong selection there. I would prefer to take Josh Jacobs as our running back 3 instead of Drake London as our wide receiver 2 at that point. So yeah, I would go ahead. I'd probably just take Jacobs there. Now Ramondre Stevenson, pick 100. Flash says, how do you get the draft guide after you make a deposit on Underdog? Okay, let me explain this real quick. We explain this every single live stream. So when you go and make that deposit on Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK, obviously you're going to get a dollar for dollar deposit match up to $100. And that is going to happen immediately. So if you go click the link in the live chat, click the link in the comment section, and you go to Underdog Fantasy, make a deposit, use promo code FLOCK, and you deposit $10, then you are automatically going to have $20 in your account. The second you do that, you're going to get that deposit. So I know you're maybe going to be then a little bit impatient to get our draft guide, but it takes about an hour or 2 in the Underdog system to go through and register you with the FLOCK code. So you need to wait about an hour or 2 and then check the email address that you signed up to Underdog Fantasy with. And then from there, you will find our 2022 Fantasy Football Draft Guide and our 2022 rankings emailed to the email address you signed up for Underdog with. Okay, it will take you about an hour or 2. And if you can't see it there, please check your spam. It's sent to every single person. And if you still can't find it, which you should have, Just email me and I'll get the situation sorted out for you. Jake says, is your draft guide best ball or normal? My draft guide's for normal 2022 fantasy football drafts. You can use it for best ball as well, but no, it's going to be for your normal 2022 fantasy football drafts. Like our top 150 rankings aren't for underdog. They're just for regular leagues. Okay. So Damian Harris goes pick 105. Dawson Knox 104. Kenneth Walker 106. If we're looking at quarterbacks on the way back around, yeah, Stafford would be a great value at 114. I don't even know if we're that inclined to go with Stafford, however, just because we are already planning on getting Trevor Lawrence a little bit later on, and we already have Herbert as well. Jonas says, I use promo code FLOCK, and it's been a few days, and I still haven't received the guide. My man, please send me an email. I'll get that situation sorted out for you ASAP, and I'll get that guide over to you. You can find my email address in the description of the video. All you need to do is send me the email address you signed up for Underdog with and that you use promo code FLOCK. Make sure you use promo code FLOCK. If you signed up for Underdog and you didn't use promo code FLOCK, I'm sorry, but you're not going to be able to get the draft guide. But if you use promo code FLOCK, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to get that to you ASAP. Derek Carr off the board, pick 111. Hopefully we get Matthew Stafford off the board. That way we have a wide receiver making it to us. I could not be more excited about this draft. Like Tyler Boyd or Garrett Wilson coming on as our wide receiver 5 in a best ball format. This is exactly what we needed. The Fidel coming out says, I had to check my all mail folder in Gmail and the draft guide was there. Okay. So I don't know if you need to go to all mail instead of spam. I'm not an email address expert, but just go to all mail. It's going to be there. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's take Garrett Wilson. Getting Garrett Wilson here is going to be an absolute no-brainer. You look at the prospect that Garrett Wilson was coming out of Ohio State, literally an elite level wide receiver prospect. Now, no, he is not of the caliber of Jamar Chase. No, he's not of the caliber of Justin Jefferson. But if we're looking at Garrett Wilson, I mean, this is a wide receiver that any other situation, he's being drafted right up there with Drake London. And you can even make the argument, well, Mason, the Drake London situation is disgusting. Drake London is competing for targets with Kyle Pitts, and he has Marcus Mariota as his quarterback. I agree with you. The Garrett Wilson situation is disgusting. I think both wide receivers are elite level prospects. I'm excited to take shots on both of these guys because if they can overcome their situations, like Garrett Wilson is significantly more talented than any other player in this range of the draft. So now we have Jalen Tolbert, Jacoby Myers here going off at the end of round 10. You had Jalen Tolbert in the last draft we did going off in round 9, being drafted before Dak Prescott. Legitimately crazy. Crazy. Okay, so Alexander Madison goes pick 121. Let's pull this back around. I guess maybe if Rodgers were to fall to us, we could go ahead. We could take Rodgers and possibly get Christian Watson there in the 12th round. We would definitely take Rodgers if he falls. I understand. Yes, we were planning on grabbing Trevor Lawrence to stack up with Travis Etienne as well as Christian Kirk, but it would be Aaron Rodgers at pick 127. What do you expect me to do? Pass on Aaron Rodgers at pick 127? I can't do that. Rodgers goes off the board at Doc 79 anyway, so it looks like we're not going to be able to take him. Great pick by Doc. I guess we're going to go ahead. We're going to continue to slam in wide receivers. We did not draft a wide receiver through the first 5 rounds here. This is one of the best drafts I've ever had on Underdog. I've done almost 500 of these Underdog drafts this offseason, and I think this is one of the best I've ever had. Like, let's recap this. Eckler, Najee, Travis Etienne at running back, Kyle Pitts, Justin Herbert at tight end and quarterback, and then at wide receiver, of course, you're desperate for receivers after you go through the first 5 rounds and you don't select a single receiver in a league where you have to start 3 of these guys. Getting Amari Cooper, Adam Thielen, Christian Kirk, Tyler Lockett, Garrett Wilson, and Kenny Golladay as your wide receiver core. It's pretty damn exciting. Like, I don't think this draft could have gone any better for us. This is just beautiful. Now, Tua Tagovailoa off the board to pick 131. Tua is not someone I would have been intrigued with here. I mean, I would say if I was this team, I'd be probably fine taking Tua and then Gesicki on the way back around. I think all these tight ends are about the same. NTB says, can you just admit that hero running back is better than zero running back? What are you talking about, my friend? If you're looking at over the past 3 years of data, yeah, hero running back has proven to be better because you've had some top level running backs coming from the beginning of round 2, like a Jonathan Taylor, like an Austin Eckler. Was I ever coming out here going, oh my gosh, hero running back's the worst strategy in fantasy? Zero running back's the way to go. No, it's consensus. 9 out of 10 people think that hero running back is the way to go and build your teams. Like, that's old news. If you wanted an edge, you should have been using hero running back / anchor running back, whatever you wanted to call it. You should have been using that last year, not this year. Everybody already knows, my friend. You're a year too late. Okay. So now we have Irv Smith Jr. going off the board, 136. Give me a bread. Only has 2 running backs with a combination of Saquon Barkley and Ezekiel Elliott. They took Patrick Mahomes as well at quarterback. So they went and built around some wide receiver depth. Interesting that they decided to take Dawson Knox like 4 rounds ago. Like, why are you taking Dawson Knox that early when you can just get Pat Freiermuth here, pick 138? Freiermuth, in my opinion, is going to be a no-brainer selection here. I think this is right in the pocket of guys that I want to be drafting. I don't want to be taking the guys at the very beginning of this tier. I don't want to be going and drafting a Dawson Knox at 104, a Zach Ertz at 108. I don't even want to be taking Cole Kmet and Irv Smith Jr. when they go in the early 120s. They have been sliding as of late. But Pat Freiermuth, Mike Gesicki, Albert O, Hunter Henry, all these guys, the 12-13 turn, these are going to be the tight ends that I'm going to be excited about drafting. Freiermuth will be the guy. We get sniped on Lawrence. Does Lawrence usually go here? I never draft Lawrence. Well, should I take in Lawrence? Was I too zoned in? Lawrence had an ADP of about 145.5, so like 146. Maybe we should have taken Lawrence. It is what it is. We'll figure it out. We're not dead at quarterback. Lawrence was the ideal pick because we had the double stack. I just never draft Trevor Lawrence, so I wasn't ready for it. Okay, so Gesicki going 114. Okay. They respond to us. Everybody's on the wide receiver early and running backs later this year train. All I'm saying. Man, why are you arguing? What did I do to provoke you, my friend? You're screaming at me that 0 running back's a bad draft strategy when I haven't spoken a word on it in the past week, and we started our draft off with Eckler, Najee Harris, and Travis Etienne. What the hell are you talking about, big fella? Who crapped in your cornflakes? Okay, now let's get that out of the way. Let's go ahead. Let's take Kenneth Gainwell. Easy pick, easy game. We need a 4th running back. Kenneth Gainwell should have a role on a week-to-week basis in one of the best offenses in the NFL in terms of offensive line play. One of the best rushing attacks in the NFL because of that offensive line. And if something were to occur to Miles Sanders, obviously Kenneth Gainwell does have that contingency upside. Okay. So now Nico Collins going 152. I think at this point, we're definitely going to be locked into a 5 running back approach. I think some people would say, okay, Mason, you took 3 running backs so early. You need the extra wide receiver depth. I'm kind of fine with our wide receiver core. I will be fine going ahead and grabbing 1 more running back if the value presents itself. Now, we're not going to go ahead and draft a running back just for the hell of it. But if we have a value that we like at running back, we will take a 5th guy. We definitely still need to prioritize a wide receiver. We cannot draft a tight end regardless of what value falls. It doesn't matter if we're looking at like Hunter Henry's already off the board, but a tight end of that ilk, like if we have a David Njoku falling to us in the 18th round, still can't even take David Njoku at that point. Jake coming out says, congrats on the 1,000. Thanks for winning my league last year. Thoughts on committing to 2+ Chiefs wide receivers rather than just 1 for upside on spike weeks? Thank you, of course, for the support, my man. And I'm there with you. I'm drafting the hell out of the combination of Sky Moore, MVS, and McCole Hardman, particularly in best ball. If you're talking about spike weeks, I think those guys are going to have the deep threat ability, the big playability, given the offense and quarterback play that they have. The Chiefs offense, in my opinion, across the board, some of the most undervalued assets in fantasy right now. Okay, so now we have Romeo Doubs off the board, 158. Not going to be complaining about that at all. Thank you for getting him off. We are probably going to end up going quarterback here. Let's think through this. So what we could also do is we could wait on the way back round to round 15, potentially get Daniel Jones, stack Daniel Jones up with Golladay. We could wait till the very last 2 rounds and just take Zach Wilson and like Kenny Pickett. Or we could go Deshaun Watson. There are a couple different plays we can make. Let's see what wide receivers are going to be available to us. And how many teams behind us only have one quarterback? Okay, there are a decent amount of teams behind us with only one QB. So I think if we are planning on taking another quarterback, we have to go ahead and we have to grab one now, which we are planning on taking another quarterback. If we want one of this tier. I know everybody's going to hate this selection. I get it. I understand it. I don't even want to argue with you. If it was just a standard 12-team fantasy football draft, I agree with you. Why the hell are you taking Deshaun Watson here? But because, A, Justin Herbert has a bye week in week 10, so I think we can overcome the Deshaun Watson suspension at the beginning of the season if it's not extended. And B, more importantly, and way more importantly, we have to understand the context we are playing in. Of course, Underdog Fantasy has regular drafts, but the draft we are in right now is the Puppy 3. This is a $5 buy-in with $1 million prize pool, where first place gets paid in this 12-team league, second place gets paid in this 12-team league, but the real money is sitting there in weeks 15, 16, and 17, where if you get first or second in your 12-team league, you're invited to that massive fantasy football tournament there at the very end of the season, where it's $1 million prize pool with a $5 buy-in. So you are shooting for the highest ceiling possible, specifically in weeks 15, 16, and 17. Deshaun Watson could be playing then, and he could be the quarterback one during that 3-week stretch. I don't think I would project him to be the quarterback one, but it's entirely in his range of outcomes. We at the same time have Amari Cooper for the correlation here. I think it's a pretty easy pick. If I would have known we would have gotten Daniel Jones all the way back to us, pick 175, it probably would have just taken a different player and had Daniel Jones make it back to us at 175, but we didn't know what was going to happen. And I apologize. Herbert does not have a week 10 bye. I don't know why I thought he did. He has week 8 bye, but still, same point. If Watson does only serve that 6-game suspension. Justin says, hey, bud, first time being here during a live draft. Just wanted to say I appreciate you working every day to bring us real money drafts on Underdog. No one in the business works harder. Thank you, Justin. I truly appreciate the support. Thank you for the kind words. I'm happy to hear that you're enjoying these drafts, and I hope you get in a draft with us really soon. And let me sit here. Thank you. Let's go Van Jefferson. I think you can make an argument for Brian Robinson. I think you can make an argument for Donovan Peoples-Jones, Will Fuller, but there's a chance that we get one of those other wide receivers on the way back around, and we still need to be bringing in a receiver. It's not like we're strong at our wide receiver spot with a combination of Amari Cooper, Adam Thielen, Christian Kirk, Tyler Lockett, Garrett Wilson, Kenny Golladay. We still need to be bringing in guys that could have some spike weeks. Obviously, Van Jefferson is a big-time faller given the surgery news, but reports are saying he should be good to go by week 1. You shouldn't be drafting where you were previously, but I'll be happily drafting him after the ADP dip. Johnny says, I am new to the channel. If I buy a draft guide now, will I get updates as they come in? My draft with my buddies isn't until early September. Yes, our draft guides are updated. So if you purchase our draft guide on flockfantasy.com, you are going to go ahead and be able to re-download the draft guide every time we make a significant update. We've already made an update to the draft guide based on all the news that we had last week. So the draft guide on the site is now the second iteration of that. And also, if you sign up for Underdog Fantasy and just make that $10 deposit to get our draft guide, you will get our newest version of the draft guide immediately, but it's going to be a PDF that doesn't automatically update. So to get the newest version of our draft guide before your draft, you'll just have to send me an email and then send me a copy of our fantasy football draft guide, or send me the email address you signed up for Underdog with, or send me the email address that send me the email. You can forward it to me that Underdog sent you, send a screenshot, any way that you can do to prove to me that you used promo code FLOCK on Underdog. And I'd be happy to personally email you an updated version of our guide. But yes, it does update. Long story short, it does update. Masked Enigma says, Watson might legit miss the entire season. Yeah, it's 100% in the range of outcomes. 100% possible. But it's a $5 buy-in, $1 million prize pool. This is not the place to be playing for a median projection. This is a place to be playing for the top 1 percentile outcome. And who has a higher top 1 percentile outcome? Deshaun Watson or Ryan Tannehill, who goes here at pick 184. Now, let's think this through. There's one player that I clearly want. I think we're going to get him because Give Me Your Bread already has 8 wide receivers. Yeah, they only have 3 running backs with Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott, and Nyheim Hines. So I'm assuming that they're going to go ahead. They're going to take a running back here. Yeah, they go Darrell Williams. So we're going to get Donovan Peoples-Jones. We're going to get a wide receiver that brings us in that double stack with Amari Cooper there and Deshaun Watson. So I'm very excited about that selection. We are going to have 2 more rounds in this draft. I think the simple plan is to go ahead to draft 1 more running back, 1 more wide receiver, and we are going to get another draft underway. I mean, I want to say, oh, if we hit 1,000 likes in the live stream, we will fire up another draft, but I'm not going to do that to y'all. I'm having the time of my life right now. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. If y'all want to see another draft, I'll just be happy to go ahead, get another draft going. It's only 10 p.m. here. Okay, so let's scroll this down. Okay, I hope you had a good sense of the entire board. I hope you were able to see us completely dominate it. Like, this is... You know the saying. Even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. I think that's exactly what happened here, and I will happily be that blind squirrel in this instance. Now, let's pull this back around. There are 3 running backs that I like before the tier drop-off happens. In terms of wide receivers, like, our wide receiver core is not even that bad, guys. Our wide receiver core has been put together. Dearness Johnson goes 194. I'm assuming Renegades decides to take a tight end. I mean, they only have Hunter Henry. I feel like if you only have Hunter Henry, it's pick 195. Evan Ingram's almost an auto pick. They decided to take Cameron Brate. I would probably go Evan Ingram because you're going to have to draft 3 tight ends regardless. Might as well take Ingram here and then Cameron Brate in the last round. Okay, big punisher on the clock. They already have 3 tight ends, so they can't go Evan Ingram. Doc 79 is Waller and Albert O, so they're probably not in the market to go Ingram. And the team right before us has Andrews and Noah Fant, so they're probably not going to go Evan Ingram either. So it looks like Ingram may be falling to pick 200 because we can't take him. Just a player plummeting down these drafts. Oh, there's a 18th round guy that I may be very excited if we get. Guys, this team could win the $200,000. Very rarely do you draft a team that could actually do it, but this team could. Let's take Jerick McKinnon. Jerick McKinnon is not guaranteed to have a role in Kansas City this upcoming season, but hell, if Jerick McKinnon has the role that he did in the playoffs, Jerick McKinnon will be an unbelievable value at this price point. So let's go ahead. Let's take McKinnon. And we are going to fire up another draft after this one. So please make sure, guys, if you have not done so already, go sign up for Underdog Fantasy to get in our next draft. We do like 4 of these drafts every single night on the live stream. I'm going to live stream over 200 days in a row doing these drafts. They're so fun. And when you sign up for Underdog Fantasy, not only do you get to draft with us on Underdog, but at the same time, when you use promo code FLOCK, they will match that first deposit dollar for dollar up to 100. You will get our 2022 rankings, our 2022 fantasy football draft guide. That's almost 300 pages with legit a $10 deposit. And most importantly, you'll be able to have some fun. You can find the link in the live chat, find it in the description of the video. Okay. Zachary says your 3rd running back, Jonathan Taylor. No, you said you go 3 running backs in a row. Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb, and Alvin Kamara. Oh, I like that start, my friend. I like that start. Really like that start. Okay, so after we go McKinnon, we are 100% looking for a wide receiver on the way back around. And I would say that there's one name that I have in mind that I would love to make it back to us. Okay, so let's see. Corvette says, that's very odd. Why would the NFL hand out a suspension, then appeal it for a longer suspension? Idiot NFL. I can't exactly speak on why the NFL would do that. I have no idea. I am not smart enough to know. I think there are a couple different possibilities. I think they either set the judge in place, assuming that they would give Watson the suspension for the entire year or more, and then say, okay, well, we did our job. I mean, we put it into a third party. They determined it. It's not on us. We're not the reason Deshaun Watson's suspended for a season or 2. That's on them. You can blame them. And when that didn't happen, they were like, okay, no, we really want Deshaun Watson suspended for this season, so let's appeal it. That's scenario A. Or scenario B is they only wanted Watson suspended like 4 to 6 weeks, and they want Watson on the field so they get good ratings, get good ad revenue, get money. So they put it to a third party. They give him a 6-game suspension, and they say, oh no, we don't like that. We want him to be suspended for the entire year. And they do it from a PR perspective, just so the NFL, they look like they're good guys. They don't turn anyone away from the sport, and they can say, oh, the third party decided this, we didn't. Now, personally, I have no idea what happened. I don't know. I think that there could be a couple different situations that I'm not even thinking about. But Roger Goodell, the NFL in general, they've proven time and time again that from a business perspective, they're playing chess. I think that nobody really knows exactly what the NFL is doing it, why the NFL is doing it, but the NFL probably knows what they're doing. Okay. Kit Kat Kid says, Mason, go get yourself some glasses when you win the money. Are you talking about like water glasses? Or you're telling me my bottle's not enough, even though this bottle did just run out of water. I'm about to die. Now we have the easiest pick in the world. This team only wins money if Deshaun Watson is only suspended 6 weeks. So David Bell, round 18. I love David Bell, round 18, regardless of if we have Deshaun Watson or not. And if we have Deshaun Watson, it becomes a no-brainer. So we are going to go ahead. We are going to fire up our next draft here. Let's go through. There are 3 spots open when we join this. I'm assuming that a couple of y'all were sitting in here already. $103. Love me the 103. Now, this will probably be the first draft on the live stream where I go ahead. I take Justin Jefferson over Cooper Kupp at the 103. A lot of people were doing this before the Matthew Stafford news. I was holding out. I was saying, you know what? No, I can't do it. I'm sorry. I'm still going to have Cooper Kupp as my wide receiver 1. I understand why the Justin Jefferson profile is so exciting. But now that we have the Matthew Stafford news, I do think we can go ahead. We can use it as a tiebreaker. We can take Justin Jefferson here at 3. I understand why people would want to go ahead, why they would want to make that pick. So let me see how much Jefferson versus Kupp I have, because up until this point, I have been taking Justin Jefferson behind Cooper Kupp. So naturally, when other people were doing the opposite, I was taking a lot of Cooper Kupp at the 103. I was taking Cooper Kupp a lot at the 104. So Cooper Kupp was inside my top 10 most wide receivers drafted a couple weeks ago. Yeah, we have Cooper Kupp in 12% of our leagues and Jefferson in 9% of our leagues. So let's try to get that balanced to be closer together. CMC is the 101 in this draft in particular. I've seen this more and more. Christian McCaffrey, the 101. We've already talked about it enough the past 2 days. I'm still going to prefer Jonathan Taylor. And we have a ton of the flock out here in this draft with us. I believe Sparky is a member of the flock. J.K. Ooper's a member of the flock. I Was Inverted is a member of the flock. Falony, also a member of the flock. And probably 1 or 2 of these other people where I'm not recognizing the names. So we're going to go Jefferson at 3. I think this is the new standard first 5 picks that you're going to be seeing. We put out that video this morning talking about my updated 12 wide receiver rankings, and Jefferson is sliding in there at 1. Donald says, do you think Stafford will miss any time? No, I don't think Matthew Stafford will miss a single second. I mean, I think if you're looking at the injury affecting Stafford, it's just going to be from a quality of play perspective. And I think it's unlikely that it does. But just say there's a 5% chance that Matthew Stafford is negatively impacted based on the elbow injury. If it's just a 5% chance, that's still enough to go ahead and to take Justin Jefferson over Cooper Kupp. But real quick, we just passed 1,000 likes in the live stream. Thank you all so much for going down there, dropping a like. I think that's the second time ever we've passed 1,000 likes on the live stream. So thank you. Thank y'all so much, guys. Y'all know I appreciate you more than you can believe. I say it every video. I truly mean it. And I really, really hope you believe me. Now, we have Swift going at 12, Devontae Adams at 11, Derrick Henry 10. Nothing too crazy here. I mean, it is kind of wild to compare Najee Harris here at 8 to where we got him in the last draft, where we were able to pull Najee Harris at pick 18. But not every draft's going to be like what we had in the last one. Not every draft's going to be like Austin Eckler. Guys, I don't know. The rest of this live stream, I'm just going to be like coming down. I feel like I just went to like a UT football game or something and we just won on the final play of the game. I am through the roof right now going, like I got so much adrenaline going based on that last draft we had. Javonte Williams goes at 17. Very, very early for Javonte Williams. Deebo Samuel goes 18. So who are we going to be coming away with? Is this a Tyreek Hill team? Hopefully not. I'd rather have Andrews. Dog says, who did you have in the last draft? Oh, you got to rewind to see that last draft. That last draft, we started off with Eckler, Najee Harris, Kyle Pitts, Travis Etienne, Justin Herbert. That was our first 5. Tyreek Hill goes 20. Leonard Fournette, 21. So instead of making this an Andrews draft, let's go ahead. Let's make this an Evans draft. Maybe go a little bit wide receiver heavy. I'll be fine with any of those top 4 players making it back around to us. I don't exactly know what to expect. I would say after Nick Chubb, there's a pretty significant teardrop. Mark Andrews goes 23. Yeah, I can't expect Mark Andrews to make it back to it 27. Can't expect Kamara to make it back. Nick Chubb goes 25. The question is, do we get Higgins or are we going A.J. Brown? This is a Taylor and Mark Andrews team. Oh, to start Jonathan Taylor and Mark Andrews. We're going to get T. Higgins, pick 27. That's going to be about 2.5 picks past his ADP. I don't think there are going to be too many teams that have the combination of Mike Evans and T. Higgins. So this is a pretty fun start knowing the running back value that we'll get later on. I mean, now on Underdog, you're getting Josh Jacobs like pick 70. I'm probably not going to let a running back come to this team in the 4th or 5th round. Like, just to let you know, 4th, 5th rounds, I'm primarily going an elite level tight end, an elite level quarterback, whether or not that's us deciding to take, say, Darren Waller in the 4th and then getting Patrick Mahomes in the 5th. Now I am more inclined to go Jerry Jeudy in the 4th with the Tim Patrick injury. Dog says Higgins is the greatest thing in the history of the universe and any universe. I don't know if I would go that far, my friends, but I'd say he's pretty good. I'd say getting T. Higgins. I mean, in my opinion, a top 12 wide receiver. We talked about him in our top 12 wide receiver rankings today. Getting him at the beginning of the 3rd round, potentially with 2 other top 12 receivers. We potentially have 3 top 10 wide receivers on this team. Is going to be very exciting. Like, realistically speaking, now, of course, I am not hoping this happens. And I really want to emphasize that I do not want this to happen. This would make this upcoming season way less fun. Like, Bengals games would not be nearly as fun to watch. But where would T. Higgins finish if Jamar Chase were to go down? If Jamar Chase goes down with an injury and T. Higgins vaults up to being the wide receiver 1 for Joe Burrow based on the trajectory that we've seen from T. Higgins through the first 2 years of his NFL career, does T. Higgins get drafted before CeeDee Lamb? Does T. Higgins get drafted before Devontae Adams? I'd say probably. My opinion, he probably would. Now you have Sutton 34, Jerry Jeudy 37. So these wide receivers sliding up. I mean, James Conner last until the 4th round here. Very interesting. I'm not a fan of going 3rd round Sutton, Allen Robinson, or Terry McLaurin. I definitely prefer Waddle. I definitely prefer James Conner in this range. People are saying wide receiver. Jake's saying wide receiver 1 overall. Dear God. Okay. Vance says T. Higgins over Deontay, question mark, question mark. I'm just asking. I'm putting it out there. Like, just to talk through the range of outcomes with T. Higgins. Of course, something would have to change with this situation for him to actually get there. But still, it's worth bringing up the question. Teresa says, Mason, are you worried about Mike Evans' hamstring injury? No. Personally, no. I think those small pieces of news that we are getting at this point of the year are getting a lot of run just because we have nothing else to talk about. I am slightly concerned that maybe I'm overreacting at all to the Matthew Stafford elbow injury, and we still should be taking Cooper Kupp over Justin Jefferson. If I didn't already have so much Cooper Kupp where we have him in, what did I say, like 12% of our leagues as is, and we had Jefferson in only about 9%, I would maybe still be going Kupp. Like, any piece of news that we get at this point on August 7th, like, people are going to just naturally overreact to it. Okay, Herbert gone. I guess we get Deontay Johnson. I figured Deontay Johnson would be rising once you have the news of the contract extension here. But going 4 wide receivers in a row where we can fill out our first 3 wide receiver starting slots and at the same time gets that wide receiver in the flex, I think that is going to be intriguing. Lamar goes 47. Lamar would have definitely been in play for us on the way back around at pick 51. Y'all know I love grabbing Lamar here as that elite level guy. This team at the 101 decided to start CMC, Alvin Kamara, and Nick Chubb. A very fun start. Obviously, now at this point, it's going to be very difficult to go ahead and to take another running back. They take Juju here, pick 48. So I wonder if that means they decide to take Patrick Mahomes as well at pick 49. I mean, I feel like if you take Juju 48, you're almost locking yourself into a Mahomes selection here, no? Michael says, is Alvin Kamara someone not to draft? You do not need to be that scared about Alvin Kamara, my friend. Okay, so Sparky 650 goes Cam Akers. So I thought we were going to grab an elite quarterback and an elite level tight end before we had Deontay Johnson making it back to us. So I guess we only get the elite level tight end here. So this start's definitely completely different than what we had in the last draft. But I think this is the way the draft board's fallen to us. I mean, if we would have changed anything here, maybe it's Lamar Jackson over Deontay Johnson at 46. But in reality, I'm not stressing about that. Like with Deontay Johnson, he was the wide receiver 7 last year. I think there's an outside chance that he's a quarterback upgrade this season. Okay, so Rashad Bateman goes 53. George Kittle 52. And of course, at this point, when we start 4 wide receivers in a row, we are hoping that these wide receivers continue to go off draft boards. Like seeing Godwin, seeing Darnell Mooney here off the board in the middle of the 5th round is probably a pretty good thing for us because we really want to rely on that Josh Jacobs value, that Elijah Mitchell value that we can potentially get on the way back around to the 6-7 turn. So we have this massive run on wide receivers happening here. I mean, this is what you should come to expect on Underdog Fantasy. And also, as a side note, dear God, look at that team at pick 11. They get 2nd round Travis Kelce paired up with 5th round Patrick Mahomes. That is one of the most beautiful things I have seen in my entire life. Like, oh my gosh. I am very jealous. I don't love the Allen Robinson 3rd round selection. I personally wouldn't go down that route. I would probably instead take a Jalen Waddle. I'd probably instead take a James Conner, but hell, he's ended up getting Conner in the 4th round anyway. But very interesting at this point. Now, Elijah Moore, Amari Cooper off the board here at the very beginning of these 6th rounds. Let's see. Maybe we get an elite level quarterback making it to us a big 70. We do have these wide receivers sliding up boards across the entire draft. Smith goes at 65. Thielen, 64. So let's scroll this down. I'm not a big A.J. Dillon guy here. Like, I don't think A.J. Dillon would be a selection. If he made it to us, like, I would even take Drake London over A.J. Dillon, if I'm going to be honest. J.K. Ooper on the clock. They've gone 3 running backs in a row. If I don't want to say what I would do. Like, let's just keep my lips shut. I think J.K. Ooper is watching the live stream. They let it run down. Are they on auto? They take Elijah Mitchell. Are they on auto draft? They didn't auto draft DJ Moore. Yeah, they didn't auto draft DJ Moore. That was a pick before ADP, so I don't think they are on auto. So let's see what this team right before us does. If they take... Our plan was Josh Jacobs pick 70. That's what happens. Our plan was Jacobs pick 70. That's where Jacobs falls. We'll take him. We won't think twice. But after that pick, we are going to see a significant tier drop. Now you have Joe Burrow off the board. Burrow is my plan at 75. What the hell am I supposed to do? Guys, please spam the chat. What do you do at this pick? Pick 75. Our team's Jacobs, Justin Jefferson, Mike Evans, T. Higgins, Deontay Johnson, Darren Waller. What are you doing here? I'm completely lost. Dog saying Lance. Okay, everybody's staying Lance. Y'all know I'm a Trey Lance guy. I've been a Trey Lance guy longer than pretty much anybody else. It just pains me to have to pay this price now. Like, in a ton of these drafts, Lance goes before Joe Burrow. And it just pains me so much that we have to pay that price on our guy, Trey Lance. But, I mean, of course, all the reasons I've loved Lance over the past 2 years. This is a quarterback that when he is starting, he is going to step into one of the best situations in the entire NFL, playing with Kyle Shanahan, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, a good offensive line. Like, what else can you ask for out of this situation? And more importantly, this is also a player that has a truly special ceiling if you're going to be looking at his rushing production. So I'll take Lance here, 75. I'm not that excited about it just because I'm bummed we can't get him later than this in drafts. But it is what it is. And real quick, if y'all want us to fire up another draft after this, we've had almost 8,000 views on the live stream. So by the time we get done with this draft, we'll probably have about 9,000. Let's say if we get 1,200 likes on the stream, we will go ahead. We'll fire up another draft after this. And of course, if you have not done so already, please go down there, subscribe to the channel. If we hit 90,000 subscribers on the channel, we will get a 24-hour live stream going. It will be a draft marathon. It'll be one of the craziest things ever. I don't know how we'll do it, but subscribe to the channel if you want to see it. And also, if you want to see it, make sure you drop a like so we get recommended to some new viewers. And if you want to draft with us on that 24-hour draft marathon live stream or any live stream that we do every single night, go to the link in the description, go to the link in the live chat, go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. When you sign up for Underdog Fantasy and you use promo code FLOCK, they will match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. You'll get our 2022 rankings, our 2022 fantasy football draft guide, and you'll be able to draft with us in the live stream and have some fun. That's a $10 deposit on Underdog Fantasy for a 300-page draft guide that, in my opinion, is by far and away the best draft guide you're going to get. But Alex E coming out and says, hey, Mason, what are your thoughts on a 0 running back draft with targeting the New England running back, Ramondre Stevenson, Kareem Hunt, Kenneth Walker, Chase Edmonds, and a 1 quarterback, 2 wide receiver, 2 running back, 1 tight end, double flex format? If this was a league where you were a little bit more incentivized to grab wide receiver depth, like if you had to start 3 wide receivers and then you had 2 flex spots, I would be a little bit more excited about it. I like the running backs that you bring up in a vacuum. However, in this format in particular, I think with the ability to only start 4 wide receivers and you have to start 2 running backs, you only have to start 2 receivers, I would probably not be that inclined to go with a 0 running back approach in that format in particular. Okay. But now there are 2 players that I really want. I'll be fine if we get either one. Let's see what Shea Witten does. They take Claypool. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take T.J. Hawkinson. We talked about in yesterday's video not taking tight ends that don't have access to a top 3 finish overall, that don't have access to an elite finish. And if you know your tight end doesn't, hell, just wait until the very end of the draft. Grab guys like David Njoku, Robert Tonyan, Albert O. Just grab all those tight ends that are essentially free. I'm standing by the fact that I do think TJ Hawkinson still has access to that elite level ceiling. He was 24 last year, guys. He was a tight end drafted inside the top 10 picks of the NFL draft because he was an elite level prospect. I like the idea of pairing up Hawkinson. He shares the same bye week as Darren Waller, but honestly, not too worried about it because we're prioritizing for weeks 15, 16, and 17 anyway. But now let's see what happens after. Kareem Hunt was going to be the other guy we would have gone with. I thought there was an outside chance we had Kareem Hunt making it back to us at pick 99. Now you have Lockett at 96. GG says, to get a badge on Underdog, do you have to win 50 leagues or just enter 50? To get a badge on Underdog, I think you have to enter 500 drafts. I think it's 500 drafts to get a badge on Underdog. But please, someone in the chat that knows more than me, spam the chat if I'm wrong. Okay, Gage is off the board. Based on how these wide receivers are flying, we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Robert Woods. I know we only have Josh Jacobs at running back. Obviously, we are struggling at the running back position. We are already loaded up with elite level wide receivers, but we're going to be able to draft 6 running backs on this team regardless. And reading this draft room where we had Sky Moore go at pick 86, we have Kenny Golladay going right after us at pick 100. I think the right call is to wait on running back because we are going to get some very compelling values a little bit later in drafts. So yeah, let's go ahead. Let's take Jacob 70. Well, we'll go with low upside running back as our hero running back approach. But we'll figure it out. Now, Dallas Goedert goes 101. Garrett Wilson 102. Yeah, so if you're looking at best available according to ADP, all those guys are running backs. But just based on how we're looking at this draft room, I think these wide receivers are going to continue to fly. Like you have Rondale Moore, Tyler Boyd, Garrett Wilson, all going significantly before their ADP. I think if we did not take Robert Woods there, we would have been in a ugly situation at the wide receiver position. Zach Ertz goes 106. Selfishly, we love seeing it happen. We have Darren Waller. We have TJ Hawkinson. So selfishly, it's very good for us to get Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz, Dawson Knox off the board. Even if I really don't like the Dawson Knox value, man, I would really like to see the Josh Allen team take him here. Okay, so James Cook goes 107. I would have liked to have James Cook on the way back around. Just unrealistic if you're going to look at James Cook and where he's being drafted at this point. GG says, if you only do $3 drafts on Underdog, that's $1,500 for a badge. Yeah, that's why not many teams have badges on Underdog. Like, I don't know how people draft more than I do. And I don't even have a red and white badge. Now, I will say I don't do the weekly drafts. I think if you do the weekly drafts, it's a much, much easier to go through and rack up those badges. But the reason you're not going to see that many people with badges on Underdog is it's because it's pretty damn hard to get them. Now, Derek Carr goes 110. Probably a good thing for us to get some of these quarterbacks off the board like Derek Carr as well. Jalen Tolbert, 111. I'm not a Tolbert fan, so. There is no way in hell I was taking Tolbert at 118 or 123, even if this is where his ADP is at this point. I wonder if McCole Hardman and like Devontae Parker go soon. Like, this draft is just wild with these wide receivers. This team on the clock goes McCole Hardman. They had 5 running backs. I feel like to push back, I don't even know what you can do to push back when these teams are going so crazy wide receiver. You have McCole Hardman, Joshua Palmer going off the board. Damian Harris makes it till pick 115. Dear God, that's crazy. Melvin Gordon, 116. This is the Cooper Kupp build. I'd imagine they go ahead. They take Matthew Stafford. You're getting Stafford 15 picks behind his ADP. Yeah, they go Stafford. We're going to get Kenneth Walker as our running back 2 here. Kenneth Walker has a ton of red flags attached to his profile. Obviously, he's playing in a pretty bad offense. And at the same time, he's not a great pass-catching running back out of the backfield. But, hell, at the end of the day, it's freaking Kenneth Walker at pick 118. Very excited about that. Aaron Rodgers goes 119. I'm not a massive fan of drafting Cousins here. Obviously, with taking Cousins, you have the Jefferson stack, but Gallup off the board. I guess we have to go Cousins because if I'm looking at the running backs in this range, like, are we that excited about taking Isaiah Spiller, Rashad? I feel like we're in a dead zone anyway. So on a Justin Jefferson build, let's might as well take Kirk Cousins. We'll lock ourselves into a team where we only have to draft 2 quarterbacks. We only have to draft 2 tight ends. I don't love Kirk Cousins at this value. Please, I want to be on record saying that Kirk Cousins and his ADP of 116, probably really rich, and I'm never going to be drafting him there. But at the same time, when we do need to be drafting Kirk Cousins, is probably on the roster where we take Justin Jefferson as the wide receiver 1 overall. So if this team's going to be any good, Justin Jefferson probably needs to be a top 3 wide receiver in fantasy. And Kirk Cousins falls about 8 picks beyond his ADP. But we'll see. Gabriel says, Mason, what's your end goal with the Flock Network? We have a couple things in the works. I will say I am more than appreciative with where it stands now. And I'm just happy in the moment with y'all hanging out in these live streams with me every single night. So if you would have asked me 3 years ago when I was making YouTube videos every single day for fun, not expecting anything from it, we made like 500 videos before we made like $100. Like, I was making videos for years just for legitimate fun. We were having like 10 people watch each video. If If you would have ever told me that we would have 1,000 likes in a live stream, I'd have told you to shut the hell up, that you're lying to me. Like, we're already sitting pretty, my man. We have a couple things in the works, though. Now, Daryl Henderson goes 132. I think at this point, we're still wanting running backs. I mean, when we get Kenneth Walker here, Kenneth Walker's more than capable as a running back 2 on a 0 running back build. I mean, this is a 0 running back build. We didn't take a running back until the 6th round, and it was the very end of the 6th round, 6-7 turn. So I feel like it's not like we're completely dead at running back. We're still pretty good. Rockout says, thoughts on 14-man drafts? I think with a 14-team league, honestly, it's going to be a little bit more fun just because it's going to be significantly harder to find value off the waiver wire. So you have to be a better drafter and you have to be more on top of waivers as well. Like, you can't go into the week and just on a Saturday morning pick up a wide receiver 3 to slide into your flex spot. That's not going to be possible. So I think 14-team leagues, 16-team leagues, the further you get away from that shallow format where you can just pick up players for free off the waiver wire, they are going to benefit the best players, which is honestly what you should probably want in fantasy football. Okay. Frymuth goes 139. Carter goes 140. I'm assuming that we just go ahead. We take KJ Osborne here, right? Like, if I knew we were going to take Kirk Cousins, I think we probably go back in time and we pass on TJ Hawkinson. We take a running back there so we could get Irv Smith Jr. at this selection. But never mind. Irv Smith Jr. goes right before us, so that wouldn't have even been possible. Let's go ahead. Let's get the double stack here with KJ Osborne, Justin Jefferson, and Kirk Cousins. I don't love KJ Osborne at this price point. It's just the right construction to do this with. And then on the way back around, we are going to go ahead. We're going to take a running back, whoever falls between Nyheim Hines and Ronald Jones. I'd imagine we get one of these guys because both teams before us already have 4 running backs. Like, I doubt they're going to go through and continue to slam these RBs. Yeah, they go Kmet and Gesicki. That helps us. Love the value of Kmet and Gesicki here. But we already had Hawkinson and Waller, so we can't take another tight end. So let's go ahead. Let's take Nyheim Hines. I think Nyheim Hines is a very good fit on this roster in that we just need raw points of the running back position. Like, I mean, hell, if Nyheim Hines, with just his receiving down role, can slide into our starting lineup 6 weeks this upcoming year, that's going to really help us out when we are just desperate for running back production. I mean, we're already elite at wide receiver. We have Jefferson, Evans, Higgins, Deontay Johnson, Robert Woods, and KJ Osborne. At tight end, we have Darren Waller and Hawkinson, so I'm confident in saying that we have a top 3 tight end every single week. Quarterback, we have Lance and Cousins. I mean, we only take Cousins because we had the Justin Jefferson pick at the very beginning of the draft. But I think it's a strong draft. Mark says, congrats on 1,100 likes. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate you, my man, coming out in every single live stream, every single video premiere as well. Thank you. Thank you, my dude. Okay, now Trevor Lawrence goes pick 151 here. KJ Hamler off the board. Really like that KJ Hamler value. Like, if you ask me, in a vacuum, who do I prefer between KJ Hamler and KJ Osborne? The battle of the KJs, I'm probably taking KJ Hamler. I'm probably taking the guy paired up with Russell Wilson. But at the same time, we had Cousins on this team. This was just a KJ Osborne build. So it is what it is. Okay, so we have Tua, James Robinson off the board here at the very end of the 13th. Think at this point, this round is probably going to be pretty critical for us. We really want to see some of these quarterbacks get drafted. Let's think this through. Could we realistically take a third quarterback? Not at the end of the 14th round. No matter what, we cannot take a quarterback at the end of the 14th round. But could we potentially take one at the beginning of the 15th, at the 1503? Like, if we were to have Watson fall, would this make sense for a Watson build and going potentially with only 7 wide receivers? Let's think this through. We have Jefferson, Evans, Higgins, Deontay, Robert Woods, KJ Osborne. You know what? If we were to take a third quarterback, we probably can't do so early. I think maybe we could get away with taking a third quarterback, but that would have to be like a Tannehill in the last round. It would have to be when we're passing up on just complete trash elsewhere. There's still some quality players on the board at this point. So J.K. Ooper on the clock. They have a very balanced start. They go to Deshaun Watson, pick 163. We were talking about potentially going Watson. I don't think we could have. Higbee off the board. We can't take Robert Tonyan even if we like the value. We can't take Daniel Jones even if we like the value. I definitely like the Tonyan value more than Daniel Jones. Let's just go ahead. Let's take Van Jefferson. Actually, no. Let's go Jamal Williams, because after Jamal Williams, we are going to have that significant tier drop at running back, whereas at wide receiver, Van Jefferson, Jamison Crowder, Wan'Dale, Marvin Jones, they're all about the same. So Wan'Dale goes 169. I feel like Jamal Williams would not have made it back to us, and we just need usable weeks here at the running back position. We still get Van Jefferson on the way back around here as our wide receiver 7, so I think that is going to be the right play. That's going to be the right play. Go Jamal Williams and then take Van Jefferson on the way back around. Obviously, with Van Jefferson, we definitely need to be putting a discount on him with the knee surgery, as we already discussed, but that's baked into the price here. Van Jefferson was going... let me pull this up. I have a pretty cool tool on RotoViz where it's like a little graph. I can look at Van Jefferson's ADP. RotoViz usually takes up a ton of service, but... I mean, not a ton of service, ton of Wi-Fi, a ton of computer power to pull up this tool. Actually, no, we're not even logged in. We're not going to bother with that mess right now. But Jamison Crowder goes 174. Evan Ingram goes 175. Probably a pretty good thing for us to see these tight ends go off draft boards, of course. We are still needing to bring in 2 more running backs. And then from there, we could potentially go with 1 more wide receiver or 1 more quarterback, depending on the value. We're done at tight end no matter what. It would just come down to, do we potentially want another quarterback? Probably not. Most likely not. We took 2 guys early. I'm just not a massive fan of Cousins. Maybe I shouldn't be taking Jefferson this early if I'm not willing to take Cousins here. I mean, we took Cousins, 7, 8 picks behind his ADP on a Jefferson build, and we stacked up KJ Osborne with the double stack, and I'm still not excited about it. So that's going to be our situation at quarterback. Why are we taking Jefferson at wide receiver 1? I don't know. Maybe we're overthinking this. Maybe it doesn't matter at the end of the day. So let's pull this back around. Jared Goff goes 181. So if we were looking at quarterbacks that we could potentially take to get some correlation in here, Tannehill's off the board. Tannehill was going to be one of those guys because we do have Robert Woods on this team. Goff would have been a player as well because we have TJ Hawkinson. So beyond that, maybe Kenny Pickett in the very last round would be that guy. Probably not going to do it, but we'll see. Just in case we have absolutely nobody that we like at wide receiver or running back, maybe we just go Kenny Pickett. Drew says, any tips on a casual 10-team ESPN league? Okay, if it's going to be a 10-team league, not a 12-team league, especially if it's going to be a casual league, I would reach on one of the elite level tight ends because you're going to be able to get replacement level production quite easily at running back as well as wide receiver off the waiver wire, where really the elite level tight ends, we know who they're going to be every single year. You know it's going to be Travis Kelce. You know it's going to be Mark Andrews. You know it's going to be Kyle Pitts this season. So I would go out of my way, and if I was playing in a very casual 10-team draft, I would just reach on grabbing one of those elite level tight ends. Okay. So you know what? Maybe we go with an 8th wide receiver and we go with an 8 wide receiver, 6 running back approach. Oh, God, I love sneezing. Sneezing is one of my favorite things ever. Alexi says, thanks to you, I won my home league last year. You the man. No, thank you so much. Hopefully I get to draft with you in a live stream soon. I really appreciate it. And let's go ahead. Let's take Corey Davis here. Like the running backs in this range, Gus Edwards, Marlon Mack, Darrell Williams, Jaden, because they're all the same. They're all the same. I think Corey Davis, pick 190. That's a crime. We have to make that selection. We'll just get whatever running back that we have on the way back around. And once we take Corey Davis here, we are definitely locked in to just drafting 2 more running backs to round this out. Because on this build, you have to take 6 running backs regardless. So the potential of going with the 3rd quarterback wasn't going to be sacrificing a running back spot. It would have been sacrificing a wide receiver slot. Mo Alley Cox, 192. J.D. McKissic off the board. Who do y'all want here? I'm leaning Marlon Mack, but the reports with Dameon Pierce just looking like he's already earned the starting job in Houston doesn't seem that exciting to take Mack. Let me know what y'all are doing. Ryan says Gus Bus. Kevin says Mack. Tim says Mack. Okay, so the few messages that we had before the timer ran out, we had like 4 votes for Mack, maybe a vote for Gus Edwards. I think 1 vote for Jerick McKinnon. So let's take Marlon Mack. They're all the same to me. I mean, I honestly maybe would have preferred McKissic with this build, but it is what it is. Kevin Effects says, please no Marlon Mack. I'm not a big Mack fan. Especially, the issue with Marlon Mack is we don't even know if he is going to catch passes. Like, at no point in Marlon Mack's career was he a great pass-catching running back. Now, maybe that was due to the fact that he played with Nyheim Hines. Maybe Nyheim Hines caused him to be capped with his receiving usage overall in Indianapolis. But it is what it is. Okay, so David Bell goes at the 201. Pick 201, excuse me. And honestly, now that David Bell's off the board, it does make my selection of Corey Davis to pick 190 excusable, in my opinion, because David Bell is someone I'm trying to get in the 18th round in every single draft. We took him there when we had Deshaun Watson in the last draft. In reality, I'm taking David Bell there regardless of who we have. Alexi says, J.D. McKissic is my most drafted player on Underdog, LOL. I like it. I mean, with McKissic in a casual league where you have to submit your starting lineup every single week, not going to be a great play because you never know when he is going to see his random spike week. But in best ball, that's kind of the format that you want him in. Oh, if Zach Wilson makes it back to us at the end of the 18th round, I will hate myself. Like, we can't take him, of course. We have Josh Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, Nyheim Hines, Jamal Williams, and Marlon Mack at running back. We need a running back here regardless. But Zach Wilson in the 18th round, going behind freaking Jonnu Smith. Who the hell is this? Kyle Phillips is going before Zach Wilson. How the hell does Kyle Phillips, Jonnu Smith, how do they contribute more points to your starting lineup than Zach Wilson? I wish we had a stronger running back core. I wish we didn't do this to ourselves. But it looks like we are not hitting 1,200 likes in the live stream. So this will probably be our last draft of the night. Hell, we did 4 drafts, and I got great news for y'all guys. You don't need to worry. We are going to get a real money fantasy football draft going tomorrow, the next day, the day after that, the day after that, and the day after that. We are drafting real money fantasy football teams every single night on this live stream over there on Underdog Fantasy. I'm sorry we're not getting another one in. I was fair. We said 1,200 likes, we would get another one. Okay. We're going to get, this was our 4th draft of the night. We'll get 4 drafts going tomorrow night. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK when you sign up to get that 100% deposit match, to get our 2022 rankings, to get our 2022 fantasy football draft guide. Literally with a $10 deposit, you get all that, and you can have some fun with us in the live stream. But thank you again. I truly appreciate all of y'all here. I'm very excited for the live stream tomorrow night. And yeah, that's it. Appreciate y'all and have a great night.